Hello, everybody. This is Digibro and Zen Huxtable.
I want nothing more than to be a white man.
And Tom Oliver.
No, you don't.
I want nothing more than to have beautiful blonde hair and those shimmering blue eyes. Look at me, I'm disgusting. I have a nice birthmark though.
Yeah, you do. You have some pretty interesting hair.
Physical features. You want to see? I know the people listening to this, but like,
yeah, he's showing us that his legs have a lot of random white hair on them.
It's on the other one too, but it's like not as prominent. It's just like,
look, that's the fucking sickest thing ever,
yeah.
dude. That's a superpower there.
It's fucking tight. Cause
how much of your life and personality would you attribute to this?
Not. I don't know, because I've been equated to like being an anime character a lot.
Yeah.
So like, there's that.
Yeah.
And also, the elementary school that I went to was like predominantly Haitian. I'm not Haitian, but I'm Ghanaian. But like, you know, that particular community.
It sounded like you said Kanye. Is that like descendants of Kanye?
Yeah. Pretty much. Fuck it. Why not? But you know that community? They're like big shonen fans, like black males and whatnot. Right. So like, there was no problem with me being accepted by that community. So like, anime, getting into that, super easy.
For your generation, more so than mine, I think. Well, I mean, not that we're in different generations per se, but I'm 6 years older.
There's a gap.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, like, I didn't... The idea that, like, all black guys are into shonen did not
so
really become
true.
floated till, like, the few years after I was out of high school.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess so. Well, I wouldn't know anything I'm saying but I don't fucking
like,
know.
I at one point went to an all-black high school, and I was the only anime fan there, and the only white guy. But this is circa...
Those fucking nerds.
This would have been before Naruto... This actually would have been right when Naruto was hitting Cartoon Network at the time, so it hadn't caught on yet. I don't think.
I want to imagine that they're like sharks smelling blood. It's like the second that Naruto hits the ground, all the black people are like.
I mean, I'm sure there was a lot of dudes who were into DBZ, but like, back then being into DBZ didn't make you an anime fan. Like, being into Naruto made people an anime fan, because like they identify, like, the word anime was not known in the 90s. You know, like DBZ, Pokemon, Sailor Moon, we didn't call those anime.
Oh,
they were just cartoons.
No, you're fucking right. Yeah, you're right. Because I remember watching, what was it, Saint Seiya?
Saint Seiya.
Saint Seiya, yeah.
Knights
I remember watching
Zodiac.
that, yeah. And I remember watching,
You saw that on Cartoon Network?
Yeah. What's it called
so
again?
you would have saw...
Toonami.
Yeah, well, it wasn't even on Toonami.
Yeah, it wasn't on Toonami, yeah.
There was very briefly, and almost nobody fucking remembers this, like, there was... For like a year, there was a block that came right before Adult Swim of just like anime action shows, and that was where G Gundam played and like SD
Allenby.
Gundam
Holy
Force.
shit, she's fucking hot.
Oh my god, you have very similar taste. This brings us into the topic of anime waifus here, because you like Allenby Beardsley, who I've drawn fan art of myself.
She's so fucking
way
hot.
back.
She's so fucking hot. Jesus Christ.
You like Ukyo from Ranma, who is also
top-notch.
my favorite from that show.
Very nice. Very nice.
It seems like you like a lot of like hot-blooded, stubborn, principled kind of girls.
For sure. And I don't know, I like Ukyo particularly because like just in the context that she inhabits, all the other suitors are generally crazy, and she's a little more level-headed. So that's what I like.
To clarify, in the series Ranma and Half, Ukyo is I want to say she's like the last like waifu who shows up in the show. Like
I think so, yeah.
She comes a bit later than most of the others. Like, you know, and it's odd because Ranma has like a sort of a harem structure. It's more of like a love polygon. Everyone's in love with somebody else.
Yeah.
There's like already 3 girls at least who want to fuck Ranma, and then they introduce Ukyo kind of later on and don't really push her that hard. Like, she kind of just immediately gets relegated to the background, but she's just got a giant spatula, and she makes okonomiyaki, and she just kind of shows up to do that every so often. And she never really becomes a major character, but she's
such a badass.
Yeah.
She's such a badass. And then there were chapters and stuff where, like, she would hang out with Ryoga and shit. It's like, I never shipped them, but, I don't know, it's kind of cool seeing them together. I guess there's some value in that.
Just characters you like hanging out, so why not?
It's fucking whatever. Yeah.
Tom, what kind of anime girls do you like?
I was like thinking of that as you guys are having a discussion, and I don't even know.
Can you think of it? Well, you were obsessed with that pink girl from My Hero
I
Academia.
love Mina Ishido a lot.
Oh my god, are you serious?
Yeah.
I love her. She's my favorite. She's literally my favorite.
This guy
Good.
knows what's up.
Very nice.
Hell
Very
fucking yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
I haven't watched enough of the show to like.
She's not even in the show. She's just like
Is
in
she
the
re-
background
No,
the
she's in the
entire time.
background,
She has like
yeah.
a couple things
I
here
just
and there.
assumed from the fact that you were. This is why I shouldn't have made a My Hero Academia video not knowing about the show. Because
Yeah,
like,
you were talking about that in your newest vlog.
yeah, well,
I can never watch it.
like towards the beginning of the video, I just show like your 3-monitor setup of the
Yeah.
character, and I just assumed because you loved her so much that she must have like a following.
No.
Like surely she did something in
she
the
has
show
this
that endeared
tiny-
people
No.
to her.
I just
And then-
found this awesome Tumblr blog called Every Mina Ishido, and it's just a reverse chronological feed of every single panel she's ever been in, including like tiny little like 2-pixel
Yeah.
scribbles in the background blown up to like a full page.
I bet literally like 1% of 1% she's not smiling. That's what I love about her. She's always happy.
She's happy, she's bubbly, and she's really stupid.
It was
and
just
it's
so funny
as
when
fuck.
because initially
good.
the
She was a
thumbnail
good
was
girl.
just the opening shot of the TV with her on it.
That would got
and-
me and like nobody else.
Right, and like
And Zen.
there was a bunch of comments that were like, "Why would you make that the thumbnail if you're trying to get views? Like it's just like a minor character nobody cares about. Like put in the put in this other." And they said like put in name of girl, and I was like,
Yeah,
I literally
Uraka.
asked somebody, "Who is that?" And they said the main girl, and I was
Yeah.
like, this proves I have not watched enough of this show.
You're like,
I've watched the
it
whole
proves
first
you haven't
season,
watched
but-
any of the show.
I literally watched
like,
all of season
episode
1 and I
2.
don't remember any
Oh,
of it,
Jesus.
basically. I mean, I just loved the frog girl because
yeah.
she's a frog girl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone loves
Sue
her.
is like she's the main waifu. Everybody loves Sue.
I think it's because she was already kind of a meme before the show came out on A. Like, she got posted all the time on
Yeah.
A. So,
Shout out Groose on the Discord. I know he loves Suyu, so here's a shout out.
She's pretty great, and she's also a pretty minor character, comparably.
Sort of.
Sort of.
She has a bigger role, and like
She does, yeah, for
she's
sure.
gotten a couple like anime exclusive episodes because they know
Oh,
that she's
okay.
like the favorite.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
They added a bunch of like anime exclusive scenes to like the arc they're in right now, and they didn't give me to anything, and I'm just like, of course. You
So-
Yeah, there's that
disgusting
arc about like
troglodytes.
that lizard girl that she hung out with, right?
Yeah,
One
there's a
who's
whole like sub. It's like in the manga, I think, right? Or no,
Was it?
there was an OVA they adapted of that too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they did.
Yeah, of like her like lizard friend.
I'm curious,
Very weird.
do you consider a waifu to be like a girl that you could like see yourself with in real life, or is there
No.
like something you? So Zen
Yeah.
immediately emphatically nodded yes,
Yeah.
and you said no. So I'm intrigued. So like, do you?
I guess maybe I'm conflating waifu and best girl, perhaps.
I mean,
No.
there's not a huge difference
'Cause
necessarily.
here's the thing, because like best girl might not even be good. It's just like best girl. Yeah, exactly. It's like best girl in this particular series, but like, what if all the girls are crap? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, so like when waifu is like a completely different thing. It's like this is someone that I've chosen out of like all the stuff that I've watched
Yeah.
to be like my favorite. So
I came to realize somewhat recently that what I looked for, I never really had a strong waifu contender, like a number one. And then I slowly realized that what I look for in a waifu is just like who I either see myself as or wish I could be. And so like all my favorite girls were always like just like people who kind of remind me of myself, or have like Tsunemori Akane from Psycho Pass is one of my favorites. And just because I want like I find her to be like extremely noble and like somebody I look up to more
Right.
so than like a waifu. But like if I try to imagine myself dating Akane, I'm like we would not match at all. She's a total type A personality,
Right.
wouldn't be in the same groove as me. Like, do you see the people you choose, like your favorite female characters, as like people you would get along with in real life?
okay, so like ostensibly yes, that's the case, but like obviously I wouldn't know all the kinks of the actual relationship because it's
Yeah.
never gonna fucking happen. But
Yeah.
Not
So
with
it's like-
that attitude.
I'm just gonna chance.
Staring into a noose, seeing the other side.
So like there are three that come to mind, and there's one that's like more realistic than the others. So there's Ukiyo Koanji, and then there's Road Camelot from D. Grayman.
I've never watched D. Graham.
Yeah, I read manga when I was a kid. She's really cute, and she's like really attached to Alan, and she's just a really sweet gal. And then I can't remember the last one's name because she's from this manga.
She's one of your top 3 waifus, and you can't remember her name.
Yeah, that's the problem. I just remember. I'm terrible. I'm so bad with names. You have no idea. But So she's in this manga about she really likes 80s pop. And I fuck with 80s pop heavy.
Of course.
And she's like a shy girl. I'm like, oh, she's cute, but like the more that she opens up, she's just that much more appealing.
Yeah.
So you know that's what makes her fake, because like it's just that easy. Because like all the music that she listens to, I'm like, dude, I fucking love Akiko Yano. Yeah, like I fuck with that.
Have you read or seen Ichigo Marshmallow?
I've heard of it.
It's great. You should check it out. But the one of the characters is named Nobue Ito, and she was like my long time like I used to always put her as like my number one waifu, basically, mostly because she smokes and drinks and is a lolicon. Like because the show is about like 4 little girls who are friends, and she always is just like, these are mine, you know. It's like her kind of mentality towards them. But like there's this panel in the manga where each of the characters is asked what is their favorite movie, and she answers like,
she's cute.
I'm a big fan of Quentin Tarantino and the Coen brothers.
Wow.
And I read that and I was just like, well, this is now officially my wife.
It's a done deal.
It's just funny because it's like, well, I just like it because that's what I like. You know, it's nothing to do with like what I think I would be compatible with beyond just like, I also want to be a smoking, drinking, lesbian lolicon who watches Quentin Tarantino movies. You know?
You're halfway there.
And then Tsukuyomi Komoe from A Certain Magical Index.
Oh yeah.
Likewise, just she's like the oldest character in the series, but she looks like a little girl, and she's got pink hair, and she just smokes and drinks excessively and complains about how she wants a husband, but like, you know, she's a Christmas cake. But like, it's never for me been about like, I don't even really find her or Nobue Ito really attractive, which is how I kind of cracked the code on this. So, like all the characters I consider waifus, I don't even really find sexually attractive. Like,
yeah.
So I think they're just me. It's just characters who represent what, like, how I see myself in my subconscious. You know.
Interesting.
Motherfucker.
Some of my waifus I find sexually attractive. Others I don't. Like Mina, yes. I also like Dekomori from Chunibyo, but I don't find her sexually attractive. I just thought she was really cool and just retarded in a good way. I guess I just like retarded girls because they're funny. Like, because Mina's pretty dumb too.
I feel like you because I know you, I feel like you, similar to me, are looking for like an escape in these characters of like, man, if only I could be fucking dumb.
Maybe.
Like, you seem like somebody who wishes you were just dumb.
I don't know.
Because life would be so much easier.
Ignorance is bliss, dude.
I know.
I mean, it is. Ignorance is bliss. Like, the older I get,
like,
the more that it's not just
these
an
characters are
idiom.
so happy. You're like...
Being happy would be nice.
Yeah.
What is that like? Someone explain it to me.
Fuck, man.
I have to live vicariously through background panels of Mina Ishido to experience happiness.
Being happy is being dumb. Just like knock yourself in the head with the mic a bunch of times.
And you also loved like Trixie and MLP and like all these characters who almost have no self-awareness but are just like able to just be themselves and be totally satisfied. And in a way, the fact that Mina's in the background, it's like she doesn't have to be weighed down by like plot, like forcing emotions onto her besides happiness. It's like she can just be eternally happy because she never has to engage in the plot.
Right.
She could just be a smiling face in the background that brings solace to your heart.
Exactly. Don't ruin her by giving her emotions, man.
I feel like I'm giving you therapy right now. I'm sorry.
I do kind of wonder to have some sort of like story importance though, but
She kind of does.
it's just, like there's like a little hint of it.
Yeah,
it's a little
like
tiniest little hint.
Horikoshi's like shipping her with the rock guy.
Yeah, the rock guy.
The rock guy. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's.
I like the little eyelashes that he has.
He's pretty badass.
Yeah.
You should check out Hero Academia. It's good shit.
I might do that.
I mean, you made a video about it. You might as well fucking watch it.
Well, usually when I make a video about something, it ensures I will never watch it.
Well,
because you're done. It's just like close book.
No, it used to be really bad that like if I started watching a show and I got an idea for a video and just went for it before finishing the show, that show is never getting finished.
Oh yeah.
That's why like I'm still 160 chapters into One Piece because like I was reading it, I got far enough to feel like I could make a video, and then I did, and then I never read it again.
That's
like,
hilarious.
The video's got like 700,000 views.
I feel so bad. I can't get into One Piece. I really tried. I read like 100-something chapters. And I did it out of obligation because like everybody is like Nate and Gib are just obsessed with it, and it's like the greatest thing ever. And so I tried reading it, and I'm like, this is good, but it doesn't do anything for me at all. It's like it's just like that. It's a brand of weird that doesn't click with me.
Don't read it if you know. I just don't force yourself to read it.
I wanted to like prove myself wrong. I was like, there's got to be something here I'm just not seeing.
If you read 100 chapters, it doesn't appeal to you.
I don't know. That's like 10% of the manga. So who the fuck knows?
I think maybe because the way I've always appreciated One Piece from a distance because I've watched the movies. And like for me, it's just I really like the central cast. Like all the main characters are. Like, the main trio of guys, basically, like Luffy, Sanji, Zoro, are just, like, really great aesthetic characters, you know? Like, each one has such an immediately identifiable, like, personality that you could just slot them into any scenario and you know exactly what they're gonna do, kind of thing, you know?
It's fucking tight, yeah.
And, like, as the manga goes on, it just... Like, the main thing about it is that after chapter 100, when they cross into the Grand Line, everything just gets progressively more complicated. Because, like, up to that point, it's like, go to an island, have an arc for a character, go to the next island, have an arc for the next character. After the Grand Line, it becomes like everything is in service of something much bigger, and the scope of that much bigger just gets ludicrous. And that's why Nate and Hippo are so obsessed with it, because every single thing that happens has like a rippling effect through the entire fucking patchwork of this gigantic narrative.
That seems cool, you know? And something I would get into.
It's just like time consuming. Zen has just busted up out of the room. I assume he's got a fart brewing. No,
yeah.
It looked like he was...
I'm trying to remember the fucking name of the 80s pop girl. God damn it.
Taiko whatever?
Nah,
no.
Taiko Onuki. That's like my favorite artist. But god damn it. Hold on.
I wonder if the mic can pick him up from over there.
He's like, apparently in order to remember this name, he had to like go off to
the shame of not knowing
or
it
something.
Was so bad. He had to go back to King Tut's tomb and meditate on it for a bit. You'll get that reference eventually. Yeah, dude. I don't know. I wanted to get into One Piece really bad. I wanted to experience that joy.
Did you have you watched any of the anime at all?
No, I don't think the 4Kids dub counts.
No. Well, it's just One Piece is a weird animal because of the fact that like I do think that for all that manga fans of it talk about how like just read the manga because it's so much better. Like I think the anime is more immediately engaging just because of the fact that it has like the colors and like it conveys that sense of epic adventure more because you're seeing it and you're like, you hear the opening theme and it's like, Aritakeru yume o kakiyatsume, and you're like, yeah, One Piece, and you know, I don't know, that kind of stuff works on me. And again, I watched like all the movies with my friend who was like a One Piece addict, you know, but like I had tried to watch the anime, got like 45 episodes in, and then just like it starts to drag its feet and the artwork is really bad in the anime. So like
that's like the big problem. Like I've not read a shonen manga that I've appreciated more than the anime. Like as much as like I'm reading Hiroaka the manga, and I like the anime more. Like
it's called slow motion
You just looked it up, dude.
Slow motion Womo Ichido.
What's the girl's name?
Yakushimaru.
Alright, there you go.
Yakushimaru?
Where do you even find out about a manga like this?
Manga Town, Manga Kakalot, or Manga Stream.
I didn't mean where do you read it. I mean, where'd you find out about it? Why do you know such an obscure title?
Why? I see art that I like, and I read the manga. That's like my...
Where do you see the art that you like? Do you hang out in, like, 4chan share threads, or, like, what?
No, I just, like, literally look at the new releases.
Oh, okay.
And I just, like, see which ones appeal to me. Like, that's how I choose which manga that I read. It's like, if the cover art appeals to me, then I'll just go for it. And I'll give it, like, 1-2 chapters. And if it doesn't hook me...
See, my problem with manga is that, like...
Oh, by the way,
yeah?
read the fucking manga. It's good.
All right.
It's a good manga.
But my problem with manga is that, like, I will not keep up with it after catching up. So, like, unless it's over, it's just going to be me reading something until the current point and then just never touching it again. And then by the time enough of it's built up that you could do, like, a second marathon, it's like, well, now I got to start over because I don't remember what the fuck was happening. That's happened to me with Bleach back in the day. Like,
Oh, yeah?
I caught up to it in like 2009,
Dude,
and then just I have no idea what happens after that point.
dude, the fucking thing about Bleach is that literally one thing happens per chapter because like literally
Yeah, it's impossible to read week by week.
it's like 2 panels per page.
But that's the funny thing about it is that like I really do think that most people's problem with Bleach comes from having to read it week by week, because as soon as you do that, it falls apart. But it's written, it is paced like a movie. It's paced like you're supposed to read it in one go. And I think a lot of manga are like that.
Well, it's Tite Kubo's fault for not realizing that he couldn't make the best product with the way he was currently producing it, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean that too. But like, it's funny if you ever followed Homestuck, like Andrew Hussey would insist like again and again, like this is meant to be read all at once. He's like, the style of release has to be this way for it to be profitable. There's no way I can just make this unbelievably massive series in silence for 2 years. But like, if you have a problem with the pacing or the way things are going, just like, it's because you're not really meant to read it week
You're
by
not supposed
week,
to read it this way.
and Homestuck's another story that kind of falls apart when you have to do it that way, because like
it's still going, right?
Oh no, it ended a year ago.
Oh really?
But
oh shit.
It's just like because it is so complicated and there's so much shit going on, like once you start reading week by week, you just start forgetting shit, and like unless you go back and like study it constantly, and if you get to that point, then like anytime a chapter isn't like a significant increase in like the narrative, then you're just gonna be like, that's a well, nothing happened this episode. It's like that didn't bother you when nothing happened in chapter 30, but like at this point you're just impatient with it because you just want it to be over.
Yeah, that's a real big problem with just like the manga industry in general. In fact, it's like it just comes out in bits and pieces, so it's like you have to make some sort of cliffhanger for every single chapter or something like that, so keep the intrigue going. So like I feel really bad for Tite Kubo because you might have heard that like he got so much shit on Twitter, like so much so that he had to shut his Twitter down.
I heard something about
like
that.
A shit ton of harassment. It was
for
ridiculous.
What exactly?
Just like
Bleach?
the general direction of Bleach. Not even the ending. It was just like people were just so mad at like how it was going, and like the faults of the manga were becoming more noticeable because of the format that it was coming out in.
Let's tell the truth though. Nobody should be on Twitter.
Dude, I think you already know that I pretty much only use Twitter for porn.
Yeah, you do look at a lot of porn on Twitter. I know.
So
thankfully I use TweetDeck now and it doesn't show me likes anymore, so
to fucking it's top notch. When you use it for porn only, no politics. My God, that is a.
It would be nice to not see politics anymore. I want to plug in
not
for Twitter
see politics.
I don't really see politics on Twitter. But then again, I've gotten to a point where my mentions tab is so active, I don't even look at my actual Twitter feed anymore. I just go and read my mentions.
So here's the thing, though, Digi. The reason why people are like don't go on Twitter, it's usually the politics, but like, and the politics are drama, but like. Whenever you go on Twitter, it's always drama. Especially right now. Yeah, exactly. So it's like,
well, I mean, some of the drama is political, but no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't... It's funny.
Yeah, it's political when you talk with Nino.
Yeah, I don't even talk with... I have never followed Nino because he tweets... not so much for the politics, just the constantness of his tweets.
No, Nino, if you're listening to this, I love you, but I muted you. Like 2 weeks ago.
He knows I refuse to follow him.
You tweet so much, Nano. It's crazy.
It's always been that way.
I know.
I've been that for like 4 years, and it's always been that way.
I made the mistake of liking too many of his tweets.
And then it shows you nothing but 902.
Yeah, it was insane. So I had to mute him.
Or as he's currently known, Anime Piracy Advocate. His current name. Even though he got somehow his video shitting on Crunchyroll got Miles from Crunchyroll to buy him a VRV
that was hilarious.
Account. I still don't totally understand how that one works.
I get it, yeah. And then Econ was like, "This is black privilege." Oh man, that was hilarious. I like that.
Yeah, I think that Twitter is generally like it's mind cancer because it just Twitter exists to make you hate people. Like
Twitter didn't need to exist for that. I was already ahead of the game on that shit.
That's what's up.
It's like, and granted, I get a weird, like, for me going on Twitter is, it's just like a pastime because I don't have any other social interaction really. And, like, I don't want to bomb in on, like, my friend... Like, the PCP Discord's not that active because everyone in it is busy.
We're all... Yeah.
And my Discord is all just people talking about me and my content. Or
Wait, I think you gave me the wrong
conversations.
Discord. Because, like, all I see are voice chats.
You probably don't have a role because is your Patreon connected to your Discord?
I think so.
Oh, well, I'll give you a role because a lot of people it's real glitchy for a lot of people. But
mine tweaks out all the time too. It's fucking annoying as shit.
Discord is not the best run thing in the world.
Yeah.
And neither is Patreon.
That's why they're working together.
Yeah, but yeah, like my Discord is a lot of just. I mean, I only really go in the discussing Digi content tab because the other tabs I just can't follow actual conversations. But then when it's all just people discussing me, then it just ends up being lots of questions that I have to field and answer all the time, and that's boring. So, like, I go on Twitter, and then I just start shit, and then I just fight people for days.
So your Discord's the love Digibro feed, and then Twitter's the hate Digibro
You know, the
feed.
funny thing is that my Discord would be the love Digibro feed if not for the fact that Econ is in there, and he has made it his personal mission to constantly be on the opposite end of everyone else, just for the, like, it seems in his mind that it's too, like, oh, Digi's gonna get too big of an ego if people are sucking his dick all the time, so I have to be the opposition force. And for me, it's like...
The ego's already big, though.
Well, for me, it's like, you don't understand. I need this. Because if I'm left to my own devices,
more than
it's just pain all the time.
Right.
You know? Like, I'm here because this is the one place I can go and see praise for myself. See, like, a lot of people see me as, like, a person with a lot of ego, but the ego is just a protective blanket from the fact that my whole life I was treated like shit by everybody around me. And so, like, I spent so long being told I was wrong about everything that I just have to believe I'm right so that someone will listen to me. Even if... Because, you know, if you just acquiesce every time people tell you you're wrong, then you're just going to let yourself be subsumed into the popular opinion. And, you know, like, and this is kind of why I asked you if your hair had any, like, impact on your upbringing, because for me, I grew up with long hair, and, like, that had a huge impact on me. Just, like, and the only reason I had it is, like, my parents were very, like, accepting, and they're just like, be who you want to be, you know, be yourself. And my mom liked long hair, so she's like, yeah, you can have long hair. And then I go to school, and they're like, you're a girl. I'm like, no, I'm not. And they're like, you are a girl.
Yeah.
You have long hair, so you are a girl. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then, you know, so, like...
We don't have to jump into this topic, but, like, that gay 9-year-old that killed himself, like,
did not hear about this.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking infuriating. Like...
They just get bullied and...
Yeah, like, he came out to his classmates, and then they told him to kill himself again and again, like, 3 days later, unresponsive in his house. Fucking
I tried to kill myself when I was 8.
Yeah, but then,
with clothespins.
Low pain tolerance, yeah.
Yeah.
Over your nostrils, right?
One over the nose and one over the lips. But they were like the fat round like white ones that have like little spikes on them.
God, did
like
you?
It wasn't just regular ass clothespins. They were like made to hold Beanie Babies. So like
wow.
Like I mean I think I was aware I could not kill myself this way because I had heard that you can't suffocate yourself. Because you certainly can't.
That theory.
You cannot drown yourself because your body will ultimately overpower you to save itself. Like your instincts will take over and you will save yourself. So, I think I had heard that even at the time, so I knew this was not like the safest bet.
Right.
But yeah, I only lasted like 20 seconds. It hurt too much.
Wow.
If you really wanted to kill yourself, you should have closed your ears as well. That's a
there you go.
Very good breath.
Shouldn't have tried to breathe through my ears.
Breath filter, yeah.
But like I just feel like like whatever, if it seems like I have a big ego, it's just a self-defense mechanism. It has nothing to do with me actually thinking I'm right about things.
Yeah, for sure.
Really
I mean,
don't.
like, but that's pretty much the case for everyone who has a big ego, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny to me because I see people
You're just more
constantly
aware about
like accuse me of like, oh, Digi thinks he's right about everything, and I'm like, no, it's not like that. I don't think I'm smart. I just think everyone else is dumb. You know, like I'm. It's like if there's a scale of 1 to 10 of intelligence, I'm at like 4, and then like almost everybody else is at like a 2. You know. But the people who are above me, I appreciate. You know,
right.
I constantly respect the greats. So, you know.
Word.
But the greats are a lot greater than me. I mean, if you're the smartest guy on AnyTube, that is not
worth much.
A high competition.
Right, exactly.
You know, it's not a high watermark.
No, yeah, for sure. Like,
do either of you want any of this gigantic Reese's pumpkin?
dude, on the car ride here, like, it kept on bumping. I'm not hungry right now. Not at all.
You kept on what? Oh, it was just
like it was just a really bumpy road.
It gave you like a.
I'm sick. I thought I was gonna throw up before I came inside. I was like outside, and I was like.
And what if you had come in and just been like, hey,
yeah.
what's up? Puke in the yard.
I puked in the yard, yeah.
It's fertilizer. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's for the animals outside. You know, give them back to the community. You're welcome.
That wouldn't even be the weirdest thing that was in your yard. We came back like 2 weeks ago, and like there's just an arrow. In your yard.
There was an arrow like tipped down in the grass like firmly like it had been fired and landed there, and we were just like. I hope this isn't some kind of gang sign. Like, I hope this isn't tagging the house that they're going to shoot or rob. Like,
Jesus Christ.
It's not there anymore. I don't know if you moved it.
No, I just took it out at the time, so...
I hope you kept it as a souvenir.
I don't remember where I put it, but I did take it out of the ground. It was a literal arrow. Yeah. Like, what the fuck?
Jesus Christ.
It was very weird.
That is so weird.
But it was, like, kind of down... It wasn't like close to the house or anything.
Right. It seemed like someone like had fired it, like doing like maybe target shooting or something, and then kind of went over the fence.
You remember that target game, that flash game, where you just like tried shooting at birds?
Arrow Man. I don't know about birds, but there was one where it was like it was kind of like that tank game, but it's like you're firing at a person who's like indeterminate distance away, and you keep having to adjust your angle to try to...
My God, I love playing that with my brother so much. Oh, good times.
I've done
all those Flash games were fucking fun. Well, not all of them, but like a lot of them were good.
There's a lot of good shit, dude.
Do you ever play Armed with Wings?
No, what was that?
Armed with Wings was really cool, and then I remember distinctly. That's how I got introduced to the song Bramble Blast from a Donkey Kong.
I have no idea.
It's
I don't know Donkey Kong soundtrack.
No. It's like
I don't know anything about SNES.
Someone listening to this knows the song, and they're like jumping with joy because it's a fucking good song.
I would be able to point out is the one that Frank Jeff C sampled, and I don't remember which one that was. So never mind. I don't know why I even said it.
Fuck it.
What were we talking about before we got onto the subject of 8-year-olds killing themselves?
I think it was just like Twitter in general.
Oh,
like
yeah,
Twitter and like growing up, he fucking
Bedhead Bernie, right?
What'd you say?
You know Bedhead Bernie, right?
What is Bedhead Bernie exactly?
Bedhead Bernie, he's a high school student. He's a good guy. I'm sure you know because like I remember you realized that like he had nothing to do with like the trolling.
Well, like so as I understood it, he had something to do with the drama early on.
Oh, did he?
But then there was I think he contacted Jesse and like squashed that with him.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because me and Bernie are friends, so there's that.
And I threw his name out there in the list of all the names I had heard connected to anything, and then like enough people over enough time told me that he wasn't related to it that I eventually believed them. Yeah. My methodology towards people is basically if I hear anything to suggest that you are associated with like being against me, then I just
bam.
You're just dead until like you spend at least a year like proving that it's not true.
It's not fucking true.
Yeah. Like
anyway,
if enough people who I trust have like spoken to you and tell me that it's okay.
Yeah. But the reason I bring him up is because the way he conducts his Twitter account, I think is perfect. Because like everything he comments on is like ironic. It's always a joke. It's like
that's why Twitter is a terrible place. That the only way to live there is to be ironic.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Like,
mean,
take it seriously. Your blood pressure is just gonna go through the fucking roof.
Well, and the other part of it is that no one seems to be able to tell when I'm being ironic, and that pisses me off twice as much because it's like half of what comes out of my mouth is intended as a joke, but then people will be like, "Oh, Digi said this," and I'm like, "It was a joke," and they're like, "Oh, backpedaling," and I'm just like, I literally can't tell a joke. Like, so I usually don't.
Well, you're
like,
the common denominator.
like
Yeah.
I have joke idea tweets all the time, and I just won't post them. That was why I made the new Shit God account initially, was just to be like a place where I could post dumb shit posts and not explain myself.
Yeah.
And like, I go out of my way to make them like as abstract and uninterpretable as possible. And when people ask, I'm just like, it's you know. Just you don't get it? Well, fuck you. You know.
That's what you get when you're drowning in twos.
But like, like when it comes to text, it's always in the nuance. So like for me, I always use exclamation points to like sort of indicate that I'm joking. Like I made this tweet. I was like, there's no morbidly obese representation in media. Like if we don't see morbidly obese people in the media we watch, they're gonna think that being morbidly obese is okay. It's like I like put a bunch of exclamation points to like indicate like this is clearly a joke, but like one person was like, "I hope you're joking." I was like, "It's like, excuse me, I'm a morbidly obese person." Like,
didn't put 8 exclamation points on this for no reason.
You found the one.
The one. Like
There's always one, though.
Yeah.
There's always that guy. And that guy is the only one who's going to respond. That's the other thing about... Something I've come to realize about the internet, that I think this is so underestimated, but, like, so much of the dumb shit is created by, like, the same small handful of people. It's like... Really, I think this applies to all of society. That, like, a significant amount of the chaos in the world is caused by, like... a handful of people, because you can create so much chaos easily. Like,
for sure,
you could go and like you could rob a place every day. You could go and just cause bad traffic every day. Like, if someone is just inept at life, they are going to be constantly creating these problems. And like, when you see that scale of problems, it makes you feel like everyone's an idiot, and then you realize, no, it's like 10 idiots just who are like severely problematic for the rest of the world.
It's always the vocal minority, and like it skews your perception of reality.
It's pretty weird how like
tough.
all of like the cultural narrative right now is driven by those people.
It's unfortunate, and like so often I'll even among like a group like just well, I don't want to call out my own patrons, but like sometimes like I might get a perception about, like, something, and it's like, oh, my patrons feel this way. And then, like, eventually I realize, no, it's, like, the 2 people who post, like, a comment on everything just happen to, like, they're always posting a comment, so their voice always gets heard, but I have, like, 1,000 other people who aren't saying anything. Right. And then, like, it's only when you change something, and this is something that I think that... all the like corporate bigwigs, they are the ones who fall for this the worst.
They totally
is that
are.
They'll listen to the like 10 people shouting about something, then they'll change to meet those people's demands, and then that's going to cause the 10,000 people who were silent until this moment to all shout.
Well,
and then the corporate overlords feel the need to backpedal.
This is a fallacy.
Like,
what's the fallacy called? Like when you
I don't know.
you ignore the data that's not present. There's like there's a technical term for it, but that's what's happening here. We're just like you see the data that's in front of you of like these people complaining, but that's only a small subsection of the opinions of everybody, just not everybody involved.
And
giving you
like,
their opinion.
I mean, if you get like an overwhelming negative opinion, it's kind of like people always talk about that you only read the negative comments, like those are the ones that stick out. I look at the like bar, I'm like, no matter how many negative comments there are, if the like bar is like 95% positive, I know people aren't actually upset.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But if you see that like
pissed
bar,
off that
like,
dislike a lot more than usual.
yeah, and like when you actually see like a crazy dislike bar, it always means something.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you will never see a video with a crazy dislike bar that's like totally unreasonable for it to happen.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like if you get that dislike bar, you need to just admit you fucked up. And even like for me, the only video I have with more than 50% dislikes is my erased video, the initial one I did after the show. And that was a big fuck up of a video. Like,
Oh, yeah?
I came at it with the assumption that everybody was upset with the ending of the show, so I could just rag on it and everybody would be okay with it. And, like, that was not the case. And it backfired big time. And granted, it led to other good shit. Like, it led to the podcast I did with Jeff, which, you know, fleshed out the complaints and made it more clear.
Mm-hmm.
But, like...
I do remember that.
That video was, like, a failure on my part. And, like, I know that because you don't get a dislike bar that serious unless you fucked up.
Yeah, it's the weirdest thing because, like, I was listening to Motorsport by the Migos today, and I looked at the like bar and I was like, huh, that's a lot of dislikes. I wonder why, because like it sounds like every other Migos song.
Yeah.
And then I remembered there was a controversy around it because Nicki Minaj and Cardi B were on the same track, and it was like there was like this feud, and it was like a lot of passive aggressiveness going on with the production and release of the track. It was like who's gonna be first on the song, like who's gonna be the last, like the final act. And like it ended up being Nicki Minaj. And, like,
Since when does that even matter? Like, since when do we structure rap tracks around the fucking hierarchy of who's the most powerful on the song?
I don't fucking know, dude. It's the craziest shit, but like she was just being really petty about it. Have you heard about the Travis Scott thing? Travis Scott, Nicki Minaj?
Oh, I don't know about Nicki Minaj. I know about the thing with the trans person on the cover of the album.
No, that's not what I'm talking about. But
Alright.
it's just basically Nicki Minaj got mad at Travis Scott because he has _1 album in the country right now, and Nicki has #2, right? And then she's mad because she's like, "Oh, you use all these underhanded tactics to get more sales than me." Thing is, guess what?
He got a better album than Nicki Minaj.
No, she used the same tactics. She used the same
okay.
fucking tactics. Like you can't give him shit for it. You use the same fucking tactics. And now she's on her podcast, like.
She has a podcast?
She has a podcast.
Nicki Minaj has a podcast? Is it any good?
I don't fucking watch it. I just watch the news reporting on the podcast. It's called Queen Radio, and she has this segment called Cocksucker of the Day, and she's just like giving all these people shit for like this whole debacle. And it's like, sure, there are people at fault, but like Travis Scott, I'm not so sure he's culpable because like he's just the dude making the music. He's not that much in charge.
I really want to be in the rap world, and the reason is that the rap world, like, if you're a musician, you can get away with so much crazier of shit than like if you're a YouTuber and you do some like fuck shit, like your whole audience turns on you. It's
done.
like
It's done.
They're like, you know, they're gonna fucking talk shit about you, and you have to have like a whole redemption arc if you want to come back. As a musician, you can just like say and do the most like fuck shit imaginable, but if you put out a fire track, no one gives a fuck.
It's wild, yeah.
And like, that's why yesterday, like when this dude Yonko Productions, anime tuber, was like coming at me on Twitter, out of nowhere. And for reasons I don't even know, but he just like came at me, and I was like, "Look, if y'all are gonna keep coming at me, make raps. Like,
yeah,
just let's do rap battles because like the way these people come at me, it's like, look, I'm gonna have to get mean. Like, I'm gonna have to say some mean shit because you guys are really like coming at me, and I'm gonna look like a bad guy if big ol' 350K subs Digi, who's just a fucking guy.
Right, exactly.
But like, if I come at you,
they fucking forget that.
I
Can't
look like an
punch down.
asshole. So like, if you're gonna come at me, write a rap so I can at least rap back, and because I can say whatever I want in a rap. You
Right,
know?
exactly.
Right.
I can fucking make
The
fun of how
context is
ugly
different
goddamn
now.
For Neverworld is in a rap. Like, if I shit on his looks in a video, people are gonna be like, I can't believe you said he was ugly.
You did it.
But you know, and like just the more cruel my insult is, the more I can code the language in the rap, and then only the
It just goes down so much more
easily.
easily when
Yeah.
it's in sonic form. But I was gonna make a diss album against you today.
Oh yeah,
because
a whole album
no,
in a
because,
day.
No, it's obviously gonna be like really crappy, but like I was gonna make an album because I don't expect anyone to make like any diss tracks against you. So I was like, so if
Snob did.
Oh, he did?
Anime Snob made a diss track, and I gotta admit, like, okay, for some reason the beat was so quiet you can't even fucking hear it. But like he actually like.
He got some bars.
Not so much that he had bars as that it was like structurally competent. Like I was just shocked that it was competent at all, and he added like flair on it, where like he had like echoes on certain lines.
Good for him,
and stuff.
huh?
Like he did as well as I think he could. You know, and Snub's not totally incompetent.
Right.
If he tries, he can make.
He can do it.
something
He can do
okay.
it. He can do the darn thing.
Now I'm not gonna respond to it because like I already killed Snub. That's the thing. Okay, this is how I look at beef. If you get killed, you have to come back harder, or else you don't get another response.
Right.
Like what happened with Asperger. Like, I killed him on a track, and then like a year later, he put out like another diss track about me. I didn't even listen to it because nobody said, "Oh, Digi, Asperger killed you on this track." It's like, dude, if your new track is not better than the one I made last time,
right,
you don't get another response.
It's kind of like I keep on bringing this back to the rap game, but
this is the rap game.
Right. You know what I mean? Perfect. Yeah, it's kind of like what is it? The Drake and Pusha T.
Yeah.
Beef. Yeah.
Exactly.
Because it's like he does
Pusha T put out like
infrared.
a little. He just kind of put like his feelers out there.
And then
Drake
Duppy freestyle, bam, and then Story of a Deed on. Oh my god. A fucking bombshell all over the place. Oh my god!
And that's the thing.
And it's crazy because
much like Pusha T, I have mad dirt on everybody,
right.
And like everybody acts like I'm some kind of like big drama monger. Like, nah, dude, I hold back so hard because I don't want to fuck up these people's careers. Like, I don't want people to hate me, you know? Like, I don't want to have motherfuckers out there like waiting for me to come up out my house because they're like, oh, this motherfucker made me lose my channel and shit. Like, I'm gonna fucking.
God
you know,
damn.
I don't like. Look, I'm really glad I'm in the AniTube game where there's not any violent motherfuckers.
Right.
Like after fucking seeing XXXTentacion get shot for no fucking reason,
dude,
I'm like,
that shit makes me livid, dude.
I'm glad I live in Boston.
Yeah. Yeah. Florida's.
Fuck Florida.
We don't speak about Florida. Florida could fall into the ocean for all I care. I don't care about it at all.
Florida should exclusively be where old white people go to die.
Absolutely. And have those swing parties.
And where Denzel Curry is inspired to make amazing albums.
Yeah, that shit was tight.
Yeah. Taboo AOTY.
Suicidal doors, call it go bed.
What are we talking about, this Nicki Minaj thing?
Yeah.
Was there more to that story? I don't even remember.
There was more to it. I mean, it's still ongoing. She's still heated about it, but like, there isn't. I don't foresee any more dirt coming out that will like, change the dynamic of what's going on.
Before we move on from rap, so Tom can rejoin the conversation.
I'm sorry.
I'm too white for this discussion.
I want to touch on the Astroworld controversy with the trans person on the cover.
Yeah. I was having a talk with an Uber driver. This is like a real tangent. I was having to talk with an Uber driver. Blah blah blah. I was trying to break into a school to get some instruments. Anyway, I was having to talk with an Uber driver, and like we were just talking about like the controversy, and then he's like, "It's like this happens all the time. People change the shit on the album covers all the time. Yeah. It's just like it just so happened that she might have been like in front of something that was important. Like,
I mean, the way I look at it. Like, okay, they frame it like, oh, it's transphobic because he took the trans person off the cover. Motherfucker, who put the trans person on the cover in the first place? I assume he did.
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I've heard that, I'm not even so sure, like, how involved he is in, like, the
cover.
Yeah, the creation of the cover.
Honestly, I would not be surprised at all if they had it on there and then they said, you know what, having this trans person on here might cause controversy because people might think it's sending a wrong message about trans people. Let's remove it. And then that is what caused the controversy. By the way, I did not mean it as in, I've gotten in trouble for that before.
Oh, yeah?
And in
Yikes.
neither case did I intend to refer to the person as it.
Well, that's
I meant the picture was.
that kind of like was gonna, my point was gonna be like, people who get riled up about that shit are just looking for things to get riled up about.
And that's what that crowd does. And I've come to realize this about like a lot of the people who talk about like for instance like sexism in media.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they watch shows like with a ticker in their brain just waiting for something to piss them off, and then they don't consider
they make their money.
Context at all.
Dude,
you know?
fucking have you heard about Doja Cat?
No, what is that?
She's the bitch I'm a cow, bitch I'm a cow. Heard that song?
No, I've not.
Okay.
Bitch, I'm a cow?
Bitch, I'm a cow, yeah. She's like wearing a cow costume.
Is this like a meme video?
Yeah, it's a meme video, yeah. She was
Is
like...
that going around on Twitter?
It's going around on Twitter, on YouTube. It
I
has like 6 million views on YouTube.
God damn.
And then it's just like, she said she was just sitting down one day. She's like, she was eating a cheeseburger. And she's like, damn, this is a cow.
Uh-huh.
Bitch, I'm a cow. She made the fucking song. She like started dancing in front of a green screen and she made it. And it was a hit. Anyway, she made this tweet about a few days ago. It was like, yeah, I've said faggot, like, well, I don't even remember what it said. What she said, like, I've said faggot like 1,000 times. Does that make me homophobic? And then, like, all of yesterday and today, everyone's like, she's canceled. She's canceled. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I know I said this on the Drunken Peasants podcast, but you know, I'll say it for my own audience as well. Like, 10 years ago, the liberal platform was like pro say whatever. Like, Louis C.K. was up on stage, like, justifying the use of the word faggot and being like, look, it doesn't mean that to me. Like, you know, if a guy's sucking a guy's dick, and, like, I'm not going to call him a faggot, but if he says something faggy, I'm going to be like, quit being a faggot and suck my dick. And, like, and I thought we all got it, and we all thought it was funny, and we were moving on with our lives, and then it was just like, oh, well, not even Louis would probably take that standpoint anymore, you know?
Well, I don't think he has any leverage to have any meaningful stance.
Unfortunately,
no.
Right now.
No, not anymore.
Poor guy. Did you hear that he did a small stand-up set, and then people were really mad about it?
Of course they were.
I don't even understand the Louis C.K. controversy because he wasn't doing it without anyone's permission, right? Wasn't he just like, was he? What was he doing?
Okay, so
exactly?
What? He closed it. He stood in front of the door and jacked off in front of a woman.
Was she like?
So
what was the context of the situation?
I think it was like. But it was like, from the account of the woman was like, we were laughing, but we were laughing out of being nervous and not having any power. It's like how
does one measure that? Like, if you're laughing, how is he supposed to understand the context?
It's not his fault that you're a little bitch too scared to do anything.
Right. Well, I mean,
when does personal responsibility come into play?
I just don't understand what exactly. Like, okay, why were you hanging out with Louis C.K.? What was what were you hoping to like? Was this a context where it seemed like this was supposed to go in a sexual direction? Like,
I don't think so. Then that's the issue because it's like he just whipped the shit out and then he's like,
that's definitely weird.
Yeah,
if that's what it was.
Yeah.
But like, I don't have any way of knowing who I'm supposed to trust in this situation.
Yeah.
You know, like whose story.
It's really tough. Yeah, for sure.
And I feel that way about just like watching the news sometimes. Where like I'll hear about some shit that happened and like. My dad might say something like, "Oh, that guy's such a monster for doing that," and I'm like, "Yeah, but we like
we don't have the whole story."
Like school shootings sometimes, where like my dad would often say things like, "Oh, like you know these fucking like I can't believe these fucking people who are just like, how could you possibly shoot up a school?" And I'm like, "Well, probably because everyone treated him like shit at the school, and like he felt like this was the only way out." You know,
it's
like,
not. Yeah, it's like it doesn't come out of nowhere. You know?
Yeah, it's like, and not to say that I'm like defending anybody's actions,
absolutely
but
not.
Like, no school shooter just is a guy who decided he hated people, and you know, for no reason.
Bill Burr actually has a great bit on that. He's like, women who are mad about these like wife beatings, like you can't just keep on pretending that they fell out of the sky out of nowhere. It's like there's context to it. He he cited the Chris Brown and Rihanna case. He's like, Rihanna wasn't just sitting there and like saying, "Oh, we should go to Baskin Robbins." Like, she was obviously saying some inflammatory shit that made him angry, or something like that. And it's like,
he still shouldn't have hit.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, the same way that people shouldn't shoot up schools, but it's like,
something clearly, anyone. I've been taking this quote out a lot lately. It's from Denzel Curry talking about XXXTentacion in an interview where he said, like, anybody who is an abuser is someone who was abused.
Yeah.
And it's true 100% of the time.
That was the Montreality thing, right?
Probably, yeah. Like, and it's always learned behavior. Like, these people.
I fucking love that interview.
All of his interviews are fucking good, man. That's why I was gonna do a documentary about Denzel Curry, because like, I watched all these interviews and I was like, oh my god, Denzel is fucking hero. But then like everybody caught on to that, and I didn't need to do the documentary anymore, because like the framing of this documentary was like everyone's misunderstood Denzel Curry, and then like he just did like 1,000 interviews, and now everybody knows what he's about.
Right,
then,
exactly.
Like, he makes an album that's like all pop songs that everybody gets.
Right.
It's real funny.
He's tight.
This is some shit that's been on my mind lately, and I'm curious because you guys are both artists, so maybe you've experienced some of this yourself. I've noticed that there's a trend where, like, reviewers and like media personalities will catch on that someone is good when they make something mature, when the message in what they're doing has like always been there. Have you ever noticed anything like this? Like, for example, Tyler, the Creator, is a guy who, like, was often, like, looked down on for being very childish and stuff in his music, and for being deliberately, like, shock jockeying and immature.
Oh, and then it was like, it turned out that was, like, part of the whole narrative, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, if you listen to the album Wolf, he literally jokes about, like, waiting for Tyler to reach maturity. Every song's got, like, a meta twist in it. All of it is, like, he jokes about, like, at one point he like admits to being gay, but then he says like, no, not yet, too soon.
Right.
And it's like, and then on the next album he just like makes a mature album, talks about all the same themes, but like without the meta, without the joking, and like comes out as gay, and everyone's like, oh, bold direction, like Tyler's finally made like a real intellectual project. And it's like, motherfucker, he was saying the same thing.
Yeah, just like Wolf. Fucking stop.
And like, and it's the same with Denzel Curry, where like his old albums are actually way deeper than Taboo. Like Taboo is him trying to make the point clear. Like
that's the whole thing. They're confusing maturity with clarity. I think a lot of these people don't have a subtle appreciation for art in general, so like when it's finally explained so a retard can understand, it's like, oh, this is so amazing. It's like you're just too stupid to realize what was going on. It's real
disappointing because it's like serious critics are the ones who are saying like Anthony Fantano like is a guy who I would accuse of this, where like you know, he was talking about Taboo by Denzel and talking about how like the messaging is stronger, and he's got like all these political statements, and I'm like, dude, literally nothing he says on Taboo is new. Right. Nothing. Like, you could go back to his first album, which he made when he was 16, and it's literally deeper. It's more coded, it's got more going on, like, it's got a full narrative behind it, like, some of the tracks are, like, have, like, more evolution, more storytelling, like, more metaphors, and I'm like, dude, this kid was just outsmarting you all. Like,
this is what you got to do now, though. You gotta design for twos, man.
You do, and it was really surreal for me when this album came out, because last year he had put out an EP called 13, and basically the reason he released it was 5 tracks that were supposed to be on Taboo, but then he decided to change the direction of the album. Those 5 tracks were like his most like experimental and kind of out there yet, and I think he realized that, like, the way to reach... Like, he thought he was trying to reach the critics. He was like, with my next album, I want to get the Grammy. I want to, like, reach... You know, I want people to, like, give this the 10 out of 10 scores. And so, at first, he was trying to do that by making, like, the boldest artistic statement. And then at some point, he went, no. What I need to do is make the most pop-accessible album that has my unique artistic slant to it. And that's exactly what he did. Taboo is, like, every song is a pop song on the whole fucking album. Yeah. And I know this, I recognize it because it's the same shit I did with Gay and Dead. Like, literally, I built that album so that every song would be a single. Like, every song would be just accessible and easy to listen to. And everyone talks about it like, oh, man, like, that was, like, your best shit, man. Like, your new shit is, like, so shallow comparatively. I'm like, no, my new shit is way deeper. It's just harder to understand, you know. But you know, and then of course when I say stuff like this, everyone's like, "Oh, you got a big ego," and I'm like, "It ain't about the ego. It's about it's just about being disappointed. Like, not that you guys aren't smart enough, just that like." And granted, like, people have to have an in before they're gonna put the effort in anyways. Like, that's always the case.
Absolutely, for sure, yeah. Like, I've whenever I make, like, any of those weird art house videos on my second channel, like, there's, like, a deeper narrative that I'm going for, but it's like, I'm not even sure that anybody cares enough to, like,
dude, some of the shit you've done on that channel, I actually don't understand how you made. Like, that one where it's just, like, all the shapes, like, breaking apart and moving through space. Like, how did you build that?
I did it manually.
Like, just frame by frame?
Not frame by frame. I was just, like, keyframing.
Like, in Vegas, though?
In Vegas, yeah.
Okay.
Not like After Effects.
Oh my God.
Well, because I wasn't...
Sounds labor intensive.
No, it wasn't.
I wasn't sure if
editor,
it was keyframing or if you had built like a 3-dimensional space or something. Because I'll show you, Tom, what I'm talking about. He has a video that looks like he is making shapes float through a 3-dimensional space.
Sounds sick. I didn't.
You can do it. You can show it right now. Let's do a live reaction.
All right, hold on.
Let's do a live audio reaction to this purely visual based piece.
yes, indeed.
Music, but all right, let's see.
Follow along at home, kids.
What's the name of the video I'm looking for?
Is it the water robots one?
Oh,
is it that one, the Sunset Maxo?
No, I think it was before this.
I like that one.
This one is similar, but there was one... maybe it is this one.
I think that it's this one.
This one is fascinating because it's like a bunch of shapes that like look like they mean something different depending on what colors they are.
Yeah. They all use different color schemes. Like, they all have, like, in academics terms, they all have a name to them.
Okay.
It's like analogous, complementary, all that shit.
Yeah, this like
doing that sick color theory game, dude.
Yeah, I took a introduction to design class.
Oh yeah.
And so I feel like I vaguely understand what's going on in this video. But
because there is some 3D work in this one. I think it's coming up right now.
Oh shit. Yeah, see, like that. And that was when I started thinking, like, did you build this in a game engine or something?
No.
Like, in
this is
Blender or
literally...
some shit.
Yeah, I literally just did, like, a tile effect, and then I used, like, a 3D thing.
It's pretty dope, dude.
I love it.
Do you remember when I think in one of my Kill La Kill videos, I talked about, like, they did something like that, where Nui gets hit and spins around.
Yeah,
it's like a 2D object spinning, and, like, people look at it and say, like, lazy animation, and I'm like... Yeah, but, like...
It's fucking inventive.
Yeah, like, I had to make a 3D space to flip that through.
Exactly.
You know? Like, that's fucking super interesting.
Exactly.
So what program did you create your 3-dimensional space in that you flipped that tile through? Or
it's all Sony Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's an option to make the shit flip 3D. And it's like, it's not a 3D space. I just put a 2D background on and then I put the 3D thing on a layer above it, so it looks like it's. I think
this might be a Sony or Vegas effect I don't know about. I've never done anything like that.
Oh, it's so fucking fun. It's fucking fun. Yeah, cool. Editing. I think I said this about my what's it called? Shit, foleying. Foleying is like ingenuity because you're finding a way to make a sound using like different objects. Like that's so fucking tight.
Foley is never literally like the sound.
Right, exactly.
It's always
it's like a punch, like fucking smack lettuce.
Yeah.
You know? It's like you have to do trial and error to find like the right sound. It's tight.
Which is why it's kind of a shame when like shows get so lazy about it. One of my big accusations on Shinsekai Yori is the show uses all stock sound effects, and I caught on immediately, like because I know them all. Because
did they use the Wilhelm scream or something?
No, it's like they use like generic splatter effects anytime somebody blows up, and then the best one is there's like the sound, which because I have played like hundreds of hours of Phantasy Star Online, and that game uses like every stock sound effect, and you'll hear them constantly. So like
it's ingrained.
Yeah, anything I see where I hear a sound effect from Phantasy Star Online, I'm gonna recognize it immediately. So like I hear one of those sounds, and like I was just helping Devu to track down he found the moment, and then I found like the literal exact same sound as like a monster death noise in Phantasy Star Online, and it's just like when I and it's like not only
that's so sad.
Not only does it make it feel lazy for me, but they just don't sound that good. Whereas like, and I compare it to Evangelion, where like that show, it's not like the sound effects are super like meaty or anything, but they clearly all have thought put into them. Like everything sounds gross in that show. Like if something grotesque is happening, it's like it makes your skin crawl, and like it's just so much more effective. And I feel like, you know, to be cheap on that front, it's like, dude, Foley is not expensive. It just requires ingenuity. You just need a guy who knows how to do it. But like, you can make it out of shit in your room. And I know a lot about it just because of the fact that I make a lot of my music that way.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was highly influenced by the band Clipping. And most of what they do is like, well...
Yeah, Death Grips does a lot of that too.
Yeah, Death Grips is... from what I've gathered, I think a lot of Death Grips music is just... They go around with a camcorder all the time and just film random shit. And they take random sounds out of their recordings. And then I think... my theory, I'm surprised that more people haven't talked about this. This is the only reason I'm not completely confident in this is that nobody else has said it. I'm pretty sure like 90% of Death Grips music is just Flatlander finds a bunch of samples, plugs them into an electric drum kit, and then Zach Hill just plays those samples.
Right.
Like I think like almost all of the sound you hear is just him playing an electric drum kit.
Damn.
So like. Because it all sounds digital, but, like, almost none of it is. And, like, if you listen to his drumming, you can tell that, like, it's him live drumming. And, like, they kind of put out, like, a keystone video to understanding this by, they put out a video that was just a 10-minute electronic drum solo of him just, like, playing with, like, you know, whatever sample pack he had plugged in. And when you hear that, and then you just extrapolate that, you listen to any of their other songs, you're like, oh, okay, this is all the band has ever been. It's just a guy playing drums with really fucking weird samples plugged into the shit. But then, and that,
it's like, yeah, even if you know that, it's like, it's still really hard to do. It's
yeah.
Like,
and it's a trip when you hear songs like, because they have a lot of songs where there'll be like guitars, but it's just one guitar tone over and over again, and it's like, that's just plugged into the bass drum. It's just, he hits the bass and it plays a guitar tone instead of a bass tone. And then, like, once you know that, it's like, oh, okay. Now I get it. Like, this is no longer, like, crazy, weird, mysterious music.
Exactly.
It's just a guy playing drums.
It demystifies it a little bit, but still, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think they wanted that, because their latest album, Year of the Snitch, I mean, first of all, the title alone, like, and a lot of the songs kind of like seem to be about deconstructing their existence.
Oh, yeah?
I think that's what the idea is. I think they're just trying to be like, hey, like, we're demystifying Death Grips because by this point it should be obvious, you know, like, we're not interested in being the crazy, mysterious, only release albums on the fucking full moon guys anymore. It's like, you know. Yeah,
one of my favorite videos on the internet is this guy showing how, what is it, the instrumental for 24 Karat Magic becomes Loyalty by Kendrick Lamar. It's like he breaks it down and like he does it step by step. It's so fucking cool. It's like the pitching up is like you take like this one part and then like repeat it and like it becomes the next. Oh, it's so fucking cool. I watch it like weekly at least. I watch it weekly. Yeah. So if you want to check that out, if you want.
Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. Actually.
Oh, okay.
I've gotten really addicted to. So at this point, I've come to realize, like, because I know FL Studio really, like, I'm starting to learn the program pretty well. I can now tell when I'm listening to a song if it was made in FL Studio and how. And, like, there was this pony artist back in the day, back in our old MLP days, named So Great and Powerful, who was, like, the god of, like, the super artsy guys in the pony community. Like, if you were like, you know, if you were like a beanie wearing cool guy like Tom over here with his beanie, it would have been a Tudor cap at the time. But So Great and Powerful was like, you know, he was like the like your favorite artist's favorite artist for the pony community.
Okay, I got you.
And everything he did was like these like modal jazz kind of like arrangements. But like now that I've learned how to use FL Studio, I realize that a lot of what he's doing is just putting like like putting a tone or like a scene into FL Studio and then running something called gross beat over it, which is just basically noise gates. So like let's say that you put in a tone that just goes boo, and then you put in a 4/4 noise gate, it becomes boop 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 boop, and then like you can make those really complex and then layer 5 of them on top of each other. So it might sound like but it's really just 5 boos that each have noise gates on them. And, like, once I figured that out, I was like, oh my god, I could probably make one of these songs. Like, I already know. And, like, here's an example of some shit I did with the noise.
Yeah, let's hear that.
So this is... I just crafted a beat and then took the first 4 bars of the Steins Gate OP and looped it with gross beat over it, and it becomes a dance song. A, like, you know, goth dance song. So yeah, that's just the Steins Gate OP with like a drum loop under it.
Right,
know?
exactly.
But like you can make it sound like fuck, and that's the best.
Exactly, like
sound.
it totally changes the genre and shit.
But like, but the band Clipping, they're like the extreme far end of this. Of like, they know how to do all kinds of crazy sonic manipulation. They have like every tool, every sound machine, and like when they do live shows, they've just got a table set up with all this weird like Frankenstein shit on it, and like they might be performing a song by like taking a little black box and like sifting it in like a box of screws or something, and like it creates just a weird noise, and you're like, okay. And then there's stuff like one of their famous songs about that, like you hear this like clunk chunk, and it's literally just like a tape cassette case being opened and closed. That's like, you know, got modified in the thing.
You know, there's this movie. You probably heard of it. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It's called Stump.
Never heard of it.
Okay, it's literally people just using everyday items as percussion. And it's really cool. Like, they do these reactions and these performances. And it's just, like, anthology of, like, all these different performances. It's like, they'll do one, like, in
Musique concrete. That's what it's,
it's like, they just do one in, like, a fucking kitchen. And then they'll do one on the streets. They'll do it all over the place. It's crazy. And I think there are multiple movies of it. And it's tight. It's tight.
It sounds like some tight shit.
Yeah, for sure. It's so cool. And then also there's Jacob Collier. I'm sure some of you listening to this know that guy and love him. He's pretty much being lauded as a musical genius right now.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, he's.
Oh wait, is
he's
he
else.
Did he make the album?
In My Room.
Yeah. Okay,
That's
I
him.
heard that recently.
Yeah.
Someone recommended me that on Twitter.
Mm-hmm. That's the guy.
Yeah, it was good stuff.
He's insane. He released Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. He just released a cover of that, where basically he just layered piano beats on top of each other, and like the syncopation is just insane. It's like it's so much. So I did it. It's like and it's like he just keeps on layering it more and more, and like somehow it doesn't sound jumbled. It's crazy.
I wish I could, like, my music tends to just sound jumbled, and I'm okay with it. I'm just like this sounds like a clusterfuck. Publish.
Yeah, dude. Sam. Well, when not music, but when I do those little videos.
Yeah, some of them can be a little clusterfuck. But I watch all that shit because like my favorite YouTube videos are the ones that like just feel like a brain blast. Like I really miss our buddy Hypocrite used to post a lot more on his Give and Take channel, which is just like it would just be literally just a brain blast, just like whatever the fuck he happened to come up with, and like I enjoy that stuff almost more than his like fully scripted and and fully done content. But like it's difficult on YouTube to like people. It's almost like people don't prize having fun as much as they prize feeling like they accomplished something or learned something.
Yeah.
You know?
I totally get that, yeah.
Like, if you make a video that makes people feel like they, you know, like they are enriched in their mind for having seen it, then they'll be more likely to, like, pay you or to, like, really praise you and share it around. But if you make something that, like, they might love but they can't explain why, they don't feel that same sensation. They'll just say, like, oh, man, this was a retarded video, but it sure was fun. But, like, man, it's just a shit post. And it's like, yeah, but if you like the shit post, if it's stuck in your brain, is that not worth just as much? And
exactly.
But for me, I find a lot more value in things I can't explain than I think most people do. Like, which is kind of funny because I'm like, what people value from me the most is my ability to explain.
Exactly.
Things. But, like,
maybe that's why you find that so valuable.
It could be. Like, for me, you know,
it's turning the tables.
For me, something that is easy to understand is just inherently less interesting because I can already understand.
Right.
It,
Exactly.
you know? And I'd rather be challenged and see something that... Not to say that I want to see stuff I wouldn't immediately like. Just, like, if I see something and I immediately like it, and I'm like, it's
like, cool. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
It's like...
and that's how I feel about your stuff. That's why I like your stuff so much, is that it feels more like a brain blast.
I was just about to mention that. I was like, you've probably... Because you watch so many YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It's like, you've seen so much. It's like, you just want, like, a fresh take on something.
I want it to be like there was no interruption between the back of your skull and it being online.
You're like, bam,
you know?
it's just there.
Because, like, I really think, I think that creating anything is translation. Like, it's huge, because I'm going to get into this fucking whack job theory shit, but, like, are you guys familiar with the CGP Grey video, You Are Two?
What's the thesis of it?
Basically that you have two brains.
Yes.
And not taking the video too literally, because I fucked up by doing this and trying to explain it in literal terms, and everyone was like, that video's not even true, you don't have two brains. The important part of the video is that the part of your brain that, like, speaks is not the same as the part that has the ideas.
Right.
And so when you speak, you're just translating the thoughts of this other brain through the first one. And, like, I think that when we create art and we can't explain it, it's not because it doesn't make sense, it's because you don't know how to say it in words. You know how to say it in this other way, you know? And, like, so if I draw a picture, you know, that picture may be worth 1,000 words, but that doesn't mean I know those words.
Right, exactly.
I might only know the picture. And that's something that, like, Hideaki Anno tried to explain a lot of times. Like, the reason he was such a troll about Eva and about, like, the idea that it had no meaning is because he was like, look, I communicated it in the show. Like, whatever I was trying to say is there. If you ask me what it means, I can't tell you because I already tried. I already gave you the information.
I did the best I could.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, like, literally true, too, because, like, you have, like, your limbic brain and your neocortex, and the neocortex is what is in charge of language, but the limbic brain is a more primitive brain, and that's what's in charge of emotions and decision-making.
Yeah.
And it doesn't understand language. That's, like, an actual literal science
We
thing.
were just reading this fucking fascinating Reddit post by someone who made it all the way up.
I'm not so sure we were just reading it. It might have been a few hours ago now.
it was about someone who went all the way up through university before realizing that they had never thought with language. And suddenly thinking with language changed their entire life and their whole perspective on everything. And they basically came to the conclusion that they had just been living, like, entirely reactionary, like, just, you know, there was no thought behind what they were doing. It was just, like, reactions to, and, like, they didn't even have, like, a true sense of object permanence.
Yeah.
Like, literally.
My God, they were fucking babies.
Yeah.
They were babies.
It was fucking really fascinating to read. And the caption was NPC becomes sentient, which is hilarious. But,
and it's
like,
perfect. It's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
But for me, I came to realize that I tend to value, or historically I have tended to value things that I could explain. Because I would create art, and if I can't tell you why it's good, it's hard for me to think it's good. Like, if I can tell you, like, if I make a song and I know logically that, like, the beats are off time, or, like, the lyrics aren't that intelligent sounding, or like that it doesn't communicate something clearly, I'm like, this is a bad song. But I will listen to my own music like ad nauseum.
Right.
Like, and even the weirdest, worst shit I've made, like almost all of it I connect with in like a way that's different from how I connect with other music, because I just see it as like, this was clearly trying to communicate something, and I can't put it into words. I could only put it into this song, and I'll never be able to explain it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'll listen to it 1,000 times because I get it. Like, the part of me that wrote it gets it, so it enjoys it. But,
Exactly.
like, I don't know how to... and, like, a lot of the times my fans will tell me, like, they don't get my music, and I'm just like, I don't know how to explain it to you. Like...
It's just there.
I have a broad musical palette because I spend a lot of time listening to music, and I understand it differently, and not necessarily better, but like, you know, if you don't get it, I can't make it easier for you, because if I could, I wouldn't have to make music. I could just explain these thoughts in words.
Yeah, but that's no fun.
No. Well, and like it's gotten weird, because ever since I realized that, I've gone back to my fiction writing, and now with the fiction writing, because I've spent so much time analyzing fiction, I can analyze my own stuff, and I immediately know what it's trying to communicate. Like, all of it is trying to say something about me, and then I read it, and it almost like makes it boring. Like, it's like, oh, this was just me trying to,
dude. Oh my god,
work through a trauma or something.
In the same way, it's a problem that people have just in general when they're working with their own art, and when you become so familiar with something, you're afraid that it's you have to sort of step outside of yourself, because you're afraid like, this is boring. But it's like, no, it's not boring. It's just boring to you because you spend so much time with it. You know,
I have that problem all the time.
Yeah.
And because you understand it, like, not only do you understand it too well, but also you feel like immediately you know how to do it better. Cause,
right,
like,
exactly.
The second you read it back, you're like, oh, well, now that I understand what my intentions were, I could have structured it like this, and it would have made more sense. But by that point, the spark is dying.
Exactly.
It's like, because you wrote it because you needed to work through this. And now that you're reanalyzing it and trying to make it, like, quote-unquote better in a logical way, it no longer is fulfilling that emotional side that needed it to begin with, which is why I try to just make everything as fast as fucking possible. Like, I just try to make it before I can think about it, because the second I think about it, it dies. And, you know, or it gets remade, and then it's just not even the same thing anyways.
Yeah, the artist struggle is definitely learning when to let go of their art, let it go into the world. Because
I made a video about this today.
Yeah.
Fail as fast as
there
possible.
we go. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I also made a video about it. See, yeah, it's a ubiquitous issue, you know, and it's cool that it's being addressed. Like, because this is a lesson that people need to learn. Like, people who make art, you have to learn this shit.
Yeah.
Because
or else you'll just never publish anything.
Because like there are people in my Discord who draw, and then like they spend like hours on this art, and it's like they're erasing shit, and it's like, oh, how does it look? And I was like, not much better than your other stuff.
Yeah, no, I fucking the hardest thing for me is I've already learned the lesson that nobody gives a fuck about how much effort I put in, and I learned that a long time ago.
Right.
Like, because I would say the moment that it truly, like, broke me was when I made the Tracing the Lineage of Cowboy Bebop video, because it was this huge research project, and I paid Victor a lot of money to edit it, and he put a ton of effort into editing it, and it was like, to me, it was my magnum opus, and like, it just totally flew over everyone's heads, and I realized it's because it had no story. Like, the thumbnail was boring, the title was boring, and the video was only interesting if you literally already knew, like, all the shows I was talking about. And then at that point, it's just, hey, isn't it cool that they're all connected? And people who knew all the shows were like, yeah, it is cool.
And
anyone else doesn't give a shit, you know? But, like, there are ways that video could have been done that it would have made sense.
Right,
and,
for sure.
Like, and I know that now, but, like, it had nothing to, like, the level of effort that went into actually crafting the video had nothing to do with making it good. And there are so many artists who shit on, like, their sketches. They'll be like, oh, that's just a sketch. And I'm like, yeah, but it's good, though. You know? Like, And
like there's this artist on Twitter. Her name is Grace Liu.
Yeah.
Grass Flu. You might know her, but she's so fucking tight. Her art is amazing, and then she's like, she posted a few days ago. She's like, oh, it's some crappy sketches. I'm like, shut the fuck up. These are fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Pisses me off whenever people say like, oh, you should.
Well, and the thing is, anyone who is good in, like, if you're actually a good artist, your sketches will be good. Like, just flat out, because it might not have the polish, and, like, there are some people who need that polish. Like, the broad normie audience, if it looks too sketchy, they're gonna say, oh, this is too sketchy, but, like, if you're a good artist, it's going to be the dynamism of the pose, or just the strength of the idea, or the emotion, or whatever, that's going to make it interesting. And that's why, like, even, like, One Punch Man, like, the original One Punch Man, for as shitty as the craftsmanship of the art is, the vision is great. Like, the framing of his panels is really good. And, like, you know, it's obvious that he is a visual thinker who just hadn't practiced at technical drawing,
exactly.
So, like... And then you just, you know, hire a guy who is good at the technical side to just recreate it and make it accessible.
It's fucking nasty, you know? Now.
Yeah, but, like, even, it's like, in terms of, you know, in terms of, like, like 80% of the work was already done in the original, you know? Like, the other one is just the 20% of making it something that everybody else could enjoy.
Yeah, people who don't make comics or aren't, like, privy to this, framing is not easy.
No.
Like,
no.
It's
the most important part.
Yeah.
And, like, I recently realized that, like, I hate drawing entirely, but I love storyboarding. Ooh. And, like, that's what I want to get into, as opposed to... Because, like, I do think visually, but all in terms of, like, camera placement. Like... I think about where, you know, where would the camera be and where would it move and where would the objects in the room be to make the framing look good. So, like, I could probably draw you a really awful looking sketch of a really badass scene, you know, and, like, but if I could pass that on to somebody, it could become a badass scene.
Yeah, I want to be a storyboarder too, actually. Yeah. Like, that's what I'm thinking of.
You just gotta start making stuff in 3D with prefabs. Then you can just have a photorealistic human that you didn't have to draw and just place it and compose it all correctly, and then...
I don't want a photorealism, though.
Oh, you can download anime people then. There's tons of free anime characters you can use and just make your own anime drawings in 3D.
I definitely feel like to be able to, like, be good in 3D art, you need to be someone who's played a lot of video games in 3D. Because, like...
have a grasp of that thing?
Because it's a different medium. This is something Tom was talking about a lot in your series on why 3D anime fails. That they all try to recreate 2D anime with 3D. And it's like... 3D has its own unique dynamism that could be employed. Like, you can do, like, extensive single take shots in 3D.
I remember you were talking about, like, that instance of Guilty Gear was, like, the guy's arm was, like, in an impossible pose or something like that. That was really cool.
They,
like, I never even thought about that.
It's pretty silly. But, yeah, I mean, like, the 3D anime has this problem of, like, trying to be 2D, and it's just, like, so much of 2D anime's look comes from limitations.
Yeah.
And, like, you have to, when you're going into 3D, those limitations don't apply anymore. So if you're not, like, actively emulating those limitations, it's not going to read correctly.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of stuff in 2D that's not correct. Mm-hmm. Like, the foreshortening's never correct, the shading's never correct, it's all artistically done. But since 3D's all based on math for the most part, like, the shading's going to be perfect.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you can't, and, like, to fudge it, it's very difficult. So if you just, like, did what, like, Square did back in, like, the mid-2000s and just, like, made, like, an art style that's non-photorealistic but, like, use all the strengths of 3D, like, you don't need to, like, have, like, 5 frames per second animation in your 3D anime because you're not limited to that. You can have it be a smooth...
It's so bizarre to me because, like, video game cutscenes...
have done this for years.
Yeah, they figured it, like, if you go watch, and, in my video about, Land of the Lustrous, I was, like, making fun of it for... I was like, you know, you could say that this CG is good, but, like, compared to, like, if you go play Final Fantasy Versus 13,
Right,
and you
yeah,
watch
yeah.
the opening, not Versus 13, I meant Lightning Returns. There's like an opening cutscene with this long extended fight scene, and it's not so much just that it looks beautiful because of the incredible graphics. It's just like the directing is amazing, you know. Or go watch a fucking Monty Ohm fight scene and do that. I mean, Land of Lustrous does have one like amazing single take fight later into the show. And that moment is, like, better than the entire rest of the show visually. Like, that is where it springs to life.
It's leveraging
you
the
know?
strength of the medium at that point.
Yeah.
Because, like,
Yeah,
to
for
do
sure.
a one-take fight scene in 2D would be hellish beyond
Yeah.
all possibility.
But in 3D, it's the natural mode.
Right.
Like
There's
all
there's
video
some cool
games are
shots
just
in-
single take shots. You
Yeah.
know?
There's some cool shots in Land of the Lustrous, like when Faust was using her gold arms for the first time. I
yeah,
think
there's
that was cool.
there's lots of cool stuff in the show, and like it's one of the better emulations of 2D, and like they spent a ton of time trying to make that look correctly, but like you could have just said, let's just like not pretend to be something we're not. Let's make a 3D show.
But it's a manga adaptation, so.
But like
know.
you still could do that. Like, you know, you Fire Emblem for GameCube or whatever, like it looked like an anime, but it just was 3D. Like you don't have to like spend like there's like behind the scenes things for Land of the Lustrous where like they show all the iterations they did to get like the shading and stuff right, and how they like had to like tweak the faces and like make the eyes like not actually just be eyes on the face, but use all these like faux tricks to like make them look more 2D. But like if you just went 3D and just said fuck trying to emulate the 2D look, you could have sidestepped all that work and spent more time doing something else.
Yeah, and it was hard to make this argument in that video, just to say that, like, once Land of the Lustrous, like, once the plot took off, I got more into the show, but the manga as 2D art is, like, top-notch.
It is very
And, like,
good.
so with the anime,
It's beautiful,
like,
sleek.
even if it is overall good-looking and a good use of CG, like, just to translate a manga that is, like, one of the better, you know, like, manga in terms of artwork into an anime that is better than other 3D, but nowhere near as good as the heights of 3D, just felt
Right.
to me like, oh man, I wish... And, like, it really reminds me of, there's a manga called 5 Star Stories that was a big mecha thing from the 80s that has, like, really crazy fashion and just, like, it's a similar, like, elegant style to Land of the Lustrous. I wouldn't be surprised if Land of the Lustrous even possibly took some influence from it visually. But, like, everything is just very, like, tall and big and elegant and beautiful in this manga. And when they made it into an anime OVA, it was, like, 50 minutes long, and because it's would have been prohibitively expensive to actually make a full show. But,
Right.
like, the anime looks fucking unbelievable. Like, it looks better than anything. And if you look at that and you go, man, they translated one of the best looking manga into one of the best looking anime.
The best deserves the best.
Right. And so, like, to see Land of the Lustrous translated to something that's like,
It's cool.
okay, there's cool
Not the
moments,
best.
but sometimes it looks goofy, and sometimes it looks
Yeah.
like jank, and the frame rate's hella low, and, like, it's just like, man, this did not fill me with the same, like, oh my god, that I felt reading the manga.
I mean, I've said it multiple times, but like 3D anime needs to stop being ashamed of itself. Like,
Yeah.
just be 3D. Like, use the art form to its fullest degree. Like, I get that you want to have the same aesthetic, but like, there's more to the. You can have an aesthetic and not have to be identical. Like, just there's like some fucking anime movie. I haven't watched it, but I've seen like a trailer for it that's on like Netflix and shit. Like Gantz or something, and it's like it's 3D, but it's not trying to look cell shaded. It's just like
Is it like a newer Gantz?
I think so.
Gantz has been around forever.
Yeah,
There
there's
is
like
a new,
there's a new
iteration of
3D
Gantz.
one of it, and it's 3D animated.
Oh, I know what
but
you're
it's-
talking about. I think that's from the same director as the Appleseed movies, possibly. Have you seen any of those?
I've seen the first one.
Yeah, they're boring as fuck.
It was really boring.
But that guy is like he's like the premier like CG anime guy
Ah,
since like the early 2000s.
that's
But,
something.
but all of his movies are boring as shit. Don't remember his fucking name. He also did like the Ava short in the. He did like a CG Ava short in the Animator Expo.
Oh yeah.
And he's gonna be directing one of the 2 new seasons of Ghost in the Shell that's coming.
What?
Did they
Kenji
do one?
Kamiyama's doing one. The guy who did Standalone Complex.
I didn't even hear that there were new seasons of
Yeah, they're gonna
Ghost in the
make.
Shell.
They're bringing back Kenji Kamiyama, and they're also doing one with the Appleseed guy, which I'm way less excited about. But
God damn.
yeah, I lost my train of thought on the. There was a show from last year called Nyanbo,
I
that
have the same mouth.
was like the best like CG anime I've seen, but it was like done with augmented reality style, where it was like all of the backgrounds were just like live action photography, and then it was 3D characters who were just like little box cats running around. But like all of the photography is fucking beautiful, or videography, I guess. So it would be like, you know, just like a regular bedroom that they live in that's just filmed gorgeously, and then these cute little CG box cats running around.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking delightful.
That's cool.
Highly recommend.
Right, that's like World of Gumball, right?
A little bit, but more. It's got that like every shot is like shallow depth of field, like long shot back, like all the backgrounds are just beautiful, and
yeah, they look great.
yeah, it's a good show.
I'll have to check that out. Yeah, just for how it looks.
It's very much a kids show, but it is a delightful kids show.
Yeah. Speaking of kids shows, have you ever heard of Mama Shiba?
Yes.
My God.
I saw you like freaking out about remembering it.
Yeah. Oh my
Twitter.
God.
But I never forget anything.
Dude,
so
I teared up listening to
remember
that song the morning that I remembered it.
it.
I don't even know how I remembered it. It just came out of nowhere. And I don't know how I first watched it, because I was a kid. And it was like...
Is it that fucking old? I guess you probably were...
It was like 2010, so it was like...
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Why are you so young? Fuck.
So that was, I was like 12. Yeah.
I was like,
Straight
what,
up.
16, 18 or something?
No, you're 7 years older than me.
So I was 19.
Oh God.
Yeah.
No, how much older am I than you? Jesus.
How old are you?
10 years. He's 20.
God.
You're 30?
I'm gonna be.
That's wild.
I need to just
Demented laughter.
I need to just kill myself.
You're exactly like me. You make fun of old people.
Goddamn geezer. Oh my God.
Yeah.
One of my favorite pastimes has always been
I don't deserve to live
making
anymore.
fun of anybody older than me for being older than me. But now that I'm getting older, I'm flipping the tables and making fun of anybody younger than me or older than me. It's like, just, if you're not exactly my age, you deserve to be shit on, basically.
There's a character in Moral Oral who shits on like anybody old because his dad is very old and he's afraid that he's gonna die. So it's like that's the way that he externalizes that. I don't have any old people in my life. I just hate geriatrics. But yeah, there it is.
I think I
yourself.
mostly make fun of people older than me because I have like a complex about being a baby or like being small and young. Because my birthday is August 8th, and I was the shortest kid in my class until high school, and so like I'm just used to being the youngest and the smallest, and like I really internalized that as my identity all growing up. So like it was a weird experience to suddenly like be of relatively normal height and like, you know, and not like when I stopped being the youngest person around myself, like second year of college, when I was, you know, taking classes that like have mostly freshmen and I'm like 19 and they're all 17 and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, because they all look older than me, or at least I felt like they did.
Right.
And then on the internet, it's like, you know, my fan base is like a lot of 16-year-olds,
right,
and I'm over
exactly.
here 27. I feel old as shit talking to my fans sometimes. Like, I'm over here fucking imparting life advice onto people.
Yeah.
I'm fucking just moved out of my house, and people are like coming to me for like life advice. Like, dude, I'm in debt. Like, don't ask me any questions. Don't base your life on me.
If you're 1 year older than someone, you can act like some wise old geezer to them.
Yeah.
That's
how you're. By the way, what adulthood means, the moment you've crossed into adulthood, is when you have debt. That's what that's my rule.
It?
Yeah, the second you have, because every young person thinks that they're never like, you're like, you get to like 22 and all your friends start having debt, and you're like, I'm never gonna have debt.
I know for sure I'm gonna have
You're
debt.
gonna have debt.
I have student loan debts.
Oh, it's the worst, dude. Let me tell you.
Yeah, that's
Jesus
how most people.
Christ, that's fucked, man.
I didn't have any student loan debts.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
Lucky bastard.
Rat bastard, yeah. You
So
and your Not.
Me and my being in the worst tax bracket, and not having paid it from last year yet.
Fucking hell, man. That's like decades or something. I don't know.
You'll learn about that when you make over 10 grand on Patreon and have to pay your own taxes.
Oh yeah. It's smarts, dude. It hurts all
Just
kinds
make
of
sure
bad.
you set aside like a third of all your income to be not yours.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
You get taxed 30%.
Well, it depends on how much you're making, but
It's about 30%.
yeah.
Wait for even that low?
Yeah, 30 cents on every
Fuck.
dollar, my dude.
Well, if you make you have to make at least 10 grand before you even have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
But
Fuck.
after that point, you gotta start. I mean, I always just.
At my current job, I'm gonna be making 10 grand. No, I don't want to be 10 grand.
Taxes don't make any fucking
Well,
sense to me,
if your
dude.
job is taking out the taxes already, then you don't have to worry about it.
Oh yeah,
You'll probably get
you're
money
right.
back.
Yeah. Whoops.
Well, here's the interesting thing. And I was telling Digi about this. I've decided that you either need to be super poor or super rich. Being in the middle is a trap.
Yes.
Because
definitely.
like 2 years ago, I only worked a real job for like 2 months. I had just gotten my job at that point, and the rest of the time I was making like dick money on Patreon, and I got like $1,100 back in my taxes that year. And then the next year I worked full time the entire year, and I got fucked. I got 30% of my tax taken out all the time, like for all my paychecks. I'm like, I can't wait to get my taxes back. I like preemptively spent it, so I'm gonna get so much back.
Oh no!
I owed $200.
Jesus Christ!
Somehow, by paying all that extra tax money, I end up owing money. I'm like, well, this is how I kill myself.
Fucking.
So that's when I
Royally
decided that middle
fucked.
class is a scam, and I'm going to purposely be poor until I become a breakout success and become instantly rich, or I die a pauper. I don't really care.
Well, as a System of a Down once said, if you are the light post, then you're the working class. But if you want the answers, you better give a piece of ass. I don't know what that means.
Words to live
but
by,
it's
truly.
provocative.
Sounds like being a prostitute or something.
Fuck it, man.
That's what I took from it.
System of a
Fuck
Down,
for
man.
money.
Damn, that's. That sucks. Paying taxes sucks.
Yeah, it really does.
I'm gonna be a libertarian, dude. Fuck this.
I mean, being a libertarian won't save you.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, you might want to be a sovereign citizen.
You
That'll
don't,
save
you don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
You have to pay for literally everything.
Do you know about the sovereign citizens?
Some shit about like they live by their own rules or some shit.
They
right?
they basically think that they have to opt in to the government systems. And so, like,
God, I wish.
by something like, say, not, like, okay, you'll see them get, have you ever heard of the show Live PD? Are either of you familiar with this? I found out about this because May's dad watches it all the time. And it's just, like, it's basically cops, but live. Like, it's just watching police, like, do their jobs live on TV. And they often have run-ins with these sovereign citizens. It'll be like, they'll pull a guy over, and he'll be like, now see, I don't have a license, and therefore I am not in the system. So you can't arrest me because I have not signed up to participate in the system.
Oh my god!
For some reason, they legitimately believe it, even though they get pulled over constantly and, like, arrested for this shit. It's just like, how do you have this in? And, like, they always just think they're gonna get theirs eventually. Like, oh, like, what you guys are doing is illegal, and well, it's not going to stop you from going to jail.
Right, exactly.
This always reminds me of, like, something I heard of on the internet a couple years ago called, like, maritime admiralty law or something. Have you ever heard of that shit?
No, but it sounds hilarious.
There was this, like, belief or, like, thing was going around online where, like your birth certificate and stuff, like, anything your name was written by the government, it's in all capital letters, which is like a separate entity from yourself, and that represented a corporation. because like your birth certificate represented like a corporation that the government owned, and that's why you had a birth certificate. They like owned you as collateral against debt that they owed to like the banks.
The fuck?
What in the fuck?
So like you could if you went to court or something, and
that
they
would
said
mean everyone is literally a slave.
right, that was the whole point. So they said that like your name in capital letters represented you, the corporation, whereas if it wasn't all capitalized, that was you, the individual. And so if you went to court and they said, "Are you, like your name?" You're like, "No, I'm not that corporation. I'm not who's been summoned here to court, so I can leave because I'm the individual, not in all capital letters."
Oh boy, how well did that work out for anybody?
Not so great, but I remember reading that and watching videos about that and being enthralled because I was super into conspiracy theory videos for a long time.
That feels like some fucking delete System 32 shit.
Oh, dude, it was sick. They had this whole thing. I guess like it's because the law was called Maritime Admiralty Law. So it was like going back to some interesting thing with like shipping and like cargo and stuff like from way fucking back in the day. At least according to the videos, what it was. I don't know. It was some crazy shit.
I mean, there are like a lot of weird, antiquated laws in America that probably, if you
there's some loopholes we could be abusing for sure.
But like, usually when if anyone actually does try to use the loophole, that will be when they close it.
Right.
So.
Tough titties.
Yeah.
Maybe that one person can get away with it.
You know,
and then from then on.
There's a lot of states with like really specific bestiality laws.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't
you
there something
can't
like
fuck
you can't
sheep
Yeah.
specifically and
Just
stuff
sheep.
like that.
It's probably because like
It's
there was
weird,
an incident way back.
Yeah, no. The weirdest thing is like, it's only that animal.
Yeah.
It's like, why not just like bet them on? It's like, no, just sheep. It's like you have to wait for someone to fuck each
somebody. That's how you're gonna go down in history. It's like, all right, it's me and an armadillo. Gonna get that one on the books.
Maybe they're just scared that they'll give people ideas if they make it too broad. Like, who knows?
Oh man, that is fucking hilarious.
There was no internet back in the day. People had to get their kicks somehow.
Yeah. Well, I remember when I didn't have internet, I read Dilbert a lot.
Dude, I read Dilbert back in the day too.
It was just, I had this big old book of Dilbert. It was like this big.
Oh boy.
And I literally think in Dilbert punchlines. Yeah.
I think in Boondocks punchlines for the same
yeah?
reason, and this is why I'm in so much trouble online.
Oh, that's perfect.
I've had the misfortune of being a white kid raised on the Boondocks.
I think in Calvin and Hobbes mostly. That was what I read a fuck ton of back in the day.
I remember it was like a small period of time, like 2 weeks. I was binging a Garfield, but didn't do it for me like Dilbert did for some reason. Why was I gravitating towards Dilbert of all comics?
Oh my god, dude! I got so fucking pissed off at Scott Adams once. Like, he's actually a pretty cool dude, but like, I actually stumbled into like him as a person and like read one of his books, which was really good. Which is like How to Fail at Almost Everything and Still Be Successful, whatever. It was a really cool book.
Ooh.
But I found his video because I was doing like research on like getting a new graphics tablet, and he was like one of the promotional people they had for like the new Wacom Cintiq at the time to draw Dilbert. I'm like, you and like the video is like, I love the Cintiq. It makes my art, my creative process so much simpler. He's like using this $3,000 computer to like drag and drop assets that he rescales, and I'm like, I literally want you dead. I'm like, how is this possible?
Fucking Dilbert. Oh man.
How did they, like, back in the day, did they just actually draw every panel of Dilbert?
Pretty sure.
I'm sure he did, yeah.
It's not too hard.
He doesn't, I don't see, he isn't
Right?
like trained as an artist, so
Or
I'm
would
sure he
they-
didn't
would
like
they
fire up
make, like-
Photoshop.
Do you think they would make just, like, a page of, like, all the templates and then just trace them over and over again for each comic?
Probably. I mean, that's what he does now. He just has them all digitally, he just drops in.
Yeah, to just change it from physical to digital, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you know, I at one point, back in the pony days, before I had my pony avatar, I had made my own character that I designed like 75 unique expressions for in Photoshop. And like, I did it all in like a night. I just like sat there and just, banged out like every conceivable expression and gesture. Used it for like one video, and then someone was like, "Here, have a pony avatar so we don't have to look at this shit anymore." Alright. And I switched immediately.
Oh man.
So there's like one video out there with my weird androgynous gray blob character that has like an endless amount of poses.
Oh shit, dude.
You gotta
should
bring
have
that back, dude.
You should have at least used it for one more video.
It was not good. Okay, well here's the worst part. the character was in grayscale, like mostly light grays, and I had them on a bright purple background.
Oh, boy.
And the way I had designed the character in Photoshop, I did not make it a transparent character. It was just on the purple background. So I literally just made all these 75 poses on this bright purple background that looked terrible, and there's no way for me to undo.
You just gotta fucking take the select tool and just click the background and
Well,
select all.
I know that
delete.
now, and I realized it while I was saying that.
Wait, was
but
it like
I didn't know that at the
was it
time.
a saturated purple?
If only you could just go to Google.com.
like a real bright purple.
Oof.
This is the difference between smart people and dumb people. The smart people will go to Google and search how to solve the problem. The dumb people are like, I guess I can't do it.
Well, I just didn't even I wouldn't have even conceived of the idea that something could be done about it. You know, like you have to know that there is.
I just assume that every problem can be solved.
Well, that's why you know tech, and that's why I don't know tech, because I run up against the wall and then I go, I need to find a tech guy because I don't know how to do this.
I'm not even gonna try.
Yeah, I mean, everything new I learn, I just kind of stumble. Like, I still don't. Okay, here's something maybe you can teach me because I need to learn this stat. The reason my thumbnails look fucking terrible is that I do not know how to manipulate text on Photoshop. Like, I know how to.
But how do you not know how to do that?
I don't know. Like, how do I make a border on text in Photoshop?
You just gotta right-click the layer and go into layer effects, and there's a fuck ton of options.
None of them are on, like.
I make my thumbnails on Sony Vegas.
That's a good idea, and I'm better at using Sony Vegas.
There we go.
But you know,
Because you can put the drop shadows on it and shit to make it pop out.
I have no aesthetic sense at all. And no one
that's a
understands because when I make my videos, it's like all of them are compiled from shit other people made. Like, if I make a video and it looks good at all, it's because I'm using anime clips or You
don't even need text, you just need an anime girl face.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
sometimes text helps because sometimes there's no anime girl popular enough who's mentioned in your video to use their face.
What have we learned this month? You don't even need to use a girl from the video you're talking about. You could just use three really good girl images over and over and over again.
Well, okay, here's something I learned, and this fucking blew my mind recently. Is right now on YouTube, I've always said title and thumbnail are what matters. Mm-hmm. Right now, it's gotten down to just thumbnail, and I learned this because there's been an increasing amount of channels who are adding channel branding to their thumbnail at the request of their fans, because fans are literally like, I can't tell your videos from other people who are similar to you because you don't have any branding in the thumbnail. Because they don't look at the names of the channels. Because most people are on mobile and they just scroll down through the related videos and find shit that way.
Right.
So
I was talking.
Are you sure these people are 2s? They sound like 0.5s.
I was talking to Unique Nemosaurus, and he's been doing a bunch of research on it, and he has first person research just talking about how effective the titles that he uses using his theory are doing
Dude, Unique Nemosaurus does. He's the guy who does insane numbers off of thumbnails.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing.
His whole career is he makes really incendiary thumbnails. Yeah, and makes crazy fucking shoots way above his sub count.
Homeboy knows what's up. Yeah.
Like
clockwork.
Because if you're okay in this month of videos I just did, literally. The videos with the most views are the ones with the most incendiary title thumbnail combination.
For sure. No, people like you said in your newest video, it's when you're passionate about the thing.
Yeah.
It's my most popular video is about fucking talking about how Midoriya's mom from Boku no Hero Academia didn't get a downgrade. I don't give a shit about that. I made that in 20 fucking minutes. It has over 1 million views. What the fuck?
Those are really holy shit.
Let me read you the titles of all the videos that have cracked over 80K views this month. I made a video every day for 30 days so far. The 31st comes out tomorrow, and there was also 2 more videos. Like there were 2 days where I did 2 videos in the same day.
Yeah.
I will read you the titles of anything that cracked over 80K. There is
Fuckers in the Franks.
so okay. The My Hero Academia video did not. So that's like most popular show out right now. Did not work. The first video that got any significant views was called "You Will Drop Everything," kind of incendiary. Then we got to Still Thinking About Isaiah Getting Punched. That did okay. That's 74K. We're not at 80K yet. I made a video about No Game No Life that was 20 minutes long. This is supposed to be my big cash cow. 72K views. The first one to break 80K is a vlog that's about 12 minutes long that I filmed in one take that was literally just to fill time in the week, called How I Really Feel About the Anime Community. and it starts off with me saying, how do I really feel about the anime community? It's pretty good. And then I just talk about like how it's better than other communities. Then the second one is called The Problem with Anime Subtitles, and it has a
text.
Probably the best thumbnail I've ever made that says subs are bad with 2 question marks. And like,
yeah, where's the red circle and arrow, dude?
Every comment is like, oh, this isn't what I was expecting, but I'm glad. Because everyone thought I was going to be like sub-hating. And, like, no, I'm just like talking about like a really minor problem with subtitles that is like not a big deal. Then the third one was Dear Crunchyroll, Stop, which has a Crunchyroll logo, the word stop on it. Then Why Crunchyroll is Ineffective Anime Support, and it's got Trigger-chan blowing a bunch of holes in the Crunchyroll logo.
Damn.
And then we've got Classic Pokemon was Dark AF, which has Brock in an apron that says WTF on it. The original title of this was, did this really happen in Pokemon? But that one was like a little too retarded, so I switched it to the Dark AF.
Check, please.
And then we have, and this was posted about 24 hours ago. It is, again, a one-take 13-minute vlog. I was wrong about Crunchyroll. An open letter to the old generation of anime gurus. 138,000 views.
That's all it takes.
And it's not even about being wrong about Crunchyroll.
It's all the fucking... It really is. Title and thumbnail, I think.
The title and thumbnail.
Yeah, for sure.
And you just need to make it... The title needs to be shocking, and the thumbnail needs to kind of corroborate it. The problem with anime subtitles when I actually put a lot of effort... Like, that is actually a transparent PNG of the character over... I, like, looked up, like cool magenta backgrounds and put one in, and then put, like, white text. It actually looks competent. But, like... That was just luck.
Right.
It's not because I'm skilled. It's because I lucked out and found some really good pictures to put together.
Yeah, pops.
But I guess I gotta put more effort in, into learning it. But like, I just don't know how to like make text borders, so that's why it's all just like shitty looking white text.
So
just do
Sony
Vegas. Yeah.
It'll take you like 2 seconds.
Well, we'll do that after the podcast is over, I guess.
You don't even have to do it. Just use Sony Vegas.
I could do that too. I'm just lazy. I don't want to have to.
Yeah, it's easy. You like if you use Sony Vegas, you won't have to learn it in like another program.
That's true.
Yeah.
You wouldn't learn to have to right click and then click a checkbox. Yeah.
Yeah.
What a struggle.
Whoa. There's already like a default option in Sony Vegas with the shadow, so that's even easier.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can only do like you can only do so much border in there. Like you can't do like a really.
You can do really thick
border.
ones. Yes, you can. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh.
You can do you can
Maybe
change
I don't know shit about fuck.
It's almost like if you like started learning things, you could do more things.
Whoa.
Look, man.
I
got away with this for so long.
I know, it disgusts me.
As
someone who's only good at gaining technical skills and has no other appreciable abilities whatsoever, it infuriates me that you're stumbling through this and making X $1,000.
I go after a technical skill when I need to reach the next height. Like, if I feel like I've done as much as I can with the skill set I have, that's when I go, all right, I need to learn a new thing so I can take this to the next level, you know? And right now, that new thing is, how do I make actual text on my thumbnail that doesn't look like dick?
Yeah, it's always a drop.
But tomorrow's video is going to be Shinsekai Yori is worse than Sword Art Online, and it's just gonna be it's gonna be a picture of a Shinsekai Yori character's face and a Kirito face, and then just a less than sign between them. I think that'll do it.
That'll do it.
I hope that'll do it.
Is worse than Sword Art.
And I know I'm gonna get a lot of complaints about that title. I already am getting complaints about the title, but like,
oh yeah,
because I've been like hyping this title for a while. Like, I want people to know that this is what the video is.
But
mostly to soften the blow.
But isn't that what you truly believe?
It is true, and I prove it in the video. Like, it's not just clickbait. I actually have like, but it's funny because it's like 30 minutes in, I finally like address the conceit that Sword Art Online is better. As like my closing section kind of thing. People will already know that by the time this comes out.
Right.
Well,
fucking shit, man. That's another issue that I kind of have a problem with. When the title is like what the video is actually about.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily what the video, but it's addressed explicitly in the video. It's like it's not clickbait because like it's something that's actually addressed.
I have a different definition of clickbait because
okay, cool.
Because for me, when I say the word clickbait, I just mean like it's a good title,
like provocative.
Like
title.
I want people to click on it, so I gave it a good title. And when people say like, because it's really bizarre, people will act like if you don't just write like Attack on Titan review. If you don't just write that, then it's like, oh, it's clickbait. It's like, first of all, at no point in history have articles been titled that. Other than when it's like, like if I go to like GameSpot, they might just have things called that because I'm going there for reviews. It's a review website. I go there to see what the reviews are. You don't go on YouTube for reviews. It is not
Some
you browsing a review database.
Right.
You know, like if everything on there was a review, that would be one thing. But like, if you just go on YouTube and you just see something called, like, whatever review, it's like, well, why would I care about this guy's review? Like, who gives a shit that you wrote an Attack on Titan review? I am not going to watch generic Attack on Titan review. Now, if you have a thesis statement in your title, like, Attack on Titan is generic garbage, and I agree with that statement, I might go, I want to know.
Or even, like,
I
if
really
you disagree. Exactly, yeah. He's like, who's this guy?
So, like, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like, I would consider it, you are literally putting bait on a hook to try to reel in viewers, but that is just what you should be doing and what good art does.
Fucking absolutely,
you know?
Jesus Christ, yeah.
I mean, the results speak for themselves, and like
that
the same people who complain about it are the people who are clicking on those videos. So get
for me, clickbait is just one. The title is disingenuous. Yeah. Like not even if it's just like something that's obviously supposed to get a reaction out of viewers. Like it's disingenuous. It's lying somehow. Like.
But the funny thing is, I like those titles the most because I made this vlog one time about how I thought irreverent titles would save YouTube. Because there was a period of time when, like, Hot Diggity Demon and The Needle Drop and, like, a few other people were doing, like, you know, hot take clickbait title, but then the video was, like, deliberately a parody of that, you know?
Oh, okay.
So, like, Fantano might make something like, top 5 like best whatever musicians, and then like the video is just like a bunch of irreverent comedy and like, you know, just like making fun of the idea of a top 5 list. And I love those because I consider it a punishment.
Or like the J. Cole XXXTentacion is the best rapper.
Yeah, those ones. That's a perfect example. Like, yeah, you like, and I mean, if you know him, if you know his content, you know this is insincere.
Right.
So you're not going to fall for the trap. But if anybody does, it to me is a punishment for the fact that you are so fucking shallow that you need this to click on a video, you know? And like, I really kind of hoped for a while that would become so widespread that it would neutralize the phenomenon that like, if enough of us just made titles like, if enough of us made clickbait titles unreliable, then people would not, you know, click on them anymore, or they would be more wary of this. And like,
it's so weird because like, in the same way, like, YouTube is sort of like, I don't know, a microcosm of the world, and the world is an impossibly large place, and it's so much so that there are parts of YouTube that use these tactics unironically
that'll never come into contact with the places that like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even no matter how widespread it becomes, it will not break into like these. You know.
I mean, I hear constantly about like what's going on YouTube, and I'm like, I don't know who KSI is.
See, fucking exactly.
It's like, don't know who he is.
And then like
I know he's in a boxing match with.
It already happened.
Okay.
Logan Paul, yeah.
Logan Paul.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It already happened. Came a tie. People said that it was rigged. Yeah.
Great. Of course it was fucking rigged. Yeah. They're fucking they're Disney fucking Channel representatives. Like, nothing they do on YouTube is real.
And then they're going to have a second match, so, you know, more money for them.
It was a pay-per-view thing, too. You had to pay to watch that.
$10.
Of course.
And then the funny thing was
more
people were watching
set up on the Dick Show.
More people were watching a pirated stream on Twitch than people were watching it on YouTube.
I mean, honestly, you know.
I mean, that's probably true of the Manny Pacquiao fight, too.
Exactly, yeah. No, I pirated that shit. Not pirated, but I found a stream one of my friends gave it to me.
I mean, it's definitely true of every wrestling match now.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you know anything about the Dick Show, Zen?
I know. I follow Dick Show on YouTube, so like I get like bits and pieces,
like the clips. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know about the boxing match, where Asterios Kokonos boxed the moderator of r/the Donald, and it was like a thing that they built up for a while, but like Asterios, because Asterios works for like an ad company, like like his whole career is advertising and shilling and like that's his MO. And he was trying to like make it into an event where he was trying to like hype it up for a long time, get promoters involved, like try to get it to be like a real thing. But at one point, both of them call into the show and they get so heated arguing with each other that the mod from the Donald literally that night drives 6 hours to New York City to fight him in like a 24-hour MMA ring. And it came to a stalemate, but it was like Asterios definitely won, but like he was getting tired and like probably didn't realize how much he was winning. And
wait, was it a live stream?
It was like live streamed on Periscope.
Oh man, that is hilarious! Yeah. Jesus Christ! No, just imagine how profound your anger has to be for like the whole ride. You're just like,
Dude, and I mean, I'm sure he did it partially for the memes and, you know, his 15 minutes of internet fame. It's funny because, like, all these people beefing with me, people, like, I've been getting messages constantly like, oh, you should fucking box for Neverworld and Yonko. And I'm like, dude, I'm not boxing anybody. I am out of shape. I am, like, I'm not I'm not out here.
Man, half of these niggas are out of shape. Come on.
Yeah, but, like, okay. Could I beat for Neverworld in a boxing match? I have no idea. I don't care to find out because the bottom line is I'm not fucking boxing anybody. Like, are you fucking kidding? Like, I have no interest in getting physically hurt in an altercation. I don't have to. I have nothing to prove. Like, I'm not out here to prove my masculinity. Right. I'm out here to prove that this guy's a fucking moron.
Exactly. Yeah.
If he wants to come at me like with a rap or something, because the dude does rap. Like, he has rap songs.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Let's compete in an artistic field where everyone gets to enjoy, and it'll be fun, and, like, I can make something out
Exactly.
of it. You know? Or in YouTube drama videos, because they don't fucking matter. Like, anyone involved, the only reason I haven't responded to, like, for Neverworld's video is that, again, if I killed you in the past, I'm not killing you again, unless you come back strong. You know?
Exactly.
I killed for Neverworld a year ago. Everyone says so. His video response, everyone shit on like his new one.
No, he shit on the new one too. Yeah, people shit on that one.
Everyone shit on that one. So like if he had come out and people were like, "Oh shit, for Neverworld's like really burning your ass," I'd be like, "Okay, let's fucking do it."
It's never gonna fucking happen. That's the thing.
But like,
it's over.
If you want to come at me with a rap, I'll do it because then it's fun and I get to make a diss track and I love making diss tracks. Like I don't want to box. I want to make diss tracks. That would be fun. But, like, I'm not in this to actually win against For Neverworld because I don't give a shit. Like, it can't affect me in any way. I'm just out here to do fun things like shit talk and that's why, again, I say, like, I wish I was in the rap game because in that game, this is normal. Like, now, granted, it also escalates to fucking real-life violence because motherfuckers don't know what's real.
Shit is wild, dude.
But, like... you know, in this world, it should be obvious that it's all fake. And,
Exactly.
like, if you don't understand that YouTube beef is all fake, you are not fucking paying attention. Because all these motherfuckers want attention. Yonko is obviously coming at me because that motherfucker only got 10k subs and he needs a boost, you know? And Forever comes at me because that dude's channel's been on the decline for years and he's grasping at relevance. Like,
Yeah.
And I fucking appreciate, like, I am not so desperate, but if I were, I could see doing some shit like that. You know? And that's what Yonko thinks I'm doing with Crunchyroll. Like, I didn't know that Crunchyroll video was gonna blow up. That was a video I threw together in 2 hours. I'm not trying to get controversy views. It was just good luck, you know? Now, granted, I rode that wave because I had more to say.
Oh, for fucking sure.
It's like, if I got more to say, I'm going to say it.
Ride that goddamn wave, yeah.
You know? But, like, I'm out of shit to say, so I'm not going to ride it anymore. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
At this point, it would be beating a dead horse. Did you see... I'm trying to bait Jeff into fighting with me, I think.
Wait, not like boxing, right?
No. Because Jeff keeps taking pot shots at me, but, like, untagged, you know, amongst people, and I'm just like, I got so much I could say, you know, like, and I'm like, if you're gonna come at me, dude, just come at me, or are you afraid?
Fucking at him, dude.
But he messaged me at one. Well, he said some shit. He didn't even at me on this, but he said like, everyone complains about me beating the SAO dead horse, but at least I don't make 2 videos about it in the same week about me doing the Crunchyroll thing, and I'm like, I mean, it's because Crunchyroll, this shit's relevant. The reason people make fun of you for the SAO thing is that you've been beating the dead horse for years.
Right, exactly.
That the show came out
how
like
do you even
6 years ago.
How do you equate that shit? What the fuck?
Right.
It makes 0 sense. What?
It's a 6-year-old show that you bring up every 6 months with no context.
Jesus Christ.
And like, and it's funny because I'm associated with being like an SAO hater, and I barely even fucking talked about the show. I did that shit 4 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been off that bandwagon. Now I'll bring it up every now and then for shits and giggles.
You're branded as a other hater because you were like the first one to like do a big one on it.
Yeah, and I fucking told him to do the goddamn shit. I was like, hey man, you want free views? Just make a video about SAO. And he was like, all right. You know, and then he did it 4 fucking times. And made thousands and thousands of dollars.
Yeah, that shit is insane. Crazy.
That fucking, when he told me that shit about that one, the like explaining why SAO fails as a game video that had like 1 million views, and he had 3 ad breaks on it, and it hit the trending page. And did you know when you hit the trending page, people bid on the ads in your videos?
Really?
Yeah, if you hit trending, your ads are worth way more because
Holy
they bid
shit.
on the ads.
What?
So with his 3 ad breaks in a 45-minute video, he made over $4,000 on 1 million views.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
And when I learned that, I was just like, oh, like, I'm not even playing the YouTube game. Like, I'm like, I haven't even been trying, you know?
God
But I don't
damn.
put ad breaks in my videos because I have a Patreon. And, like, I did it one time, and immediately one of my patrons went, like, unpatroning you because I thought the reason I paid you was so I wouldn't have to watch ads. And I was just like, fair. Not going to do ad breaks anymore.
Goddamn.
Jeff got a Patreon and ad breaks. Come at me, bro! If you're going to talk shit, or else close your goddamn mouth. Dude, it's so fucking... How weird is it that, like, on Twitter, people, somehow they act like if they don't at you, they're not talking to you.
It's the weirdest fucking shit. My God.
If you're posting on a public platform about anybody, expect that motherfucker to hear it.
It's so true, yeah.
It's because they want to say it to their audience that agrees with them. They don't want it getting further. Or at least, like, prevent that from happening as soon as possible.
Any named figure with any audience puts my name in their mouth, it gets sent
back.
to me
It gets
immediately.
Back. Of course it does.
Especially when you're both in the same niche and like there's overlap
Yeah.
in those audiences. It's not like it's
And
not gonna
everybody
be
wants us to fight
Right.
because everybody loves drama. So the second someone shit talks
what's the
me,
fucking tits?
it's sent to me right away. Hey, did you see Jeff said this?
So, like, at
You
some
know?
point, like, they have to know in their heart of... Why did I point to my head? They have to know in their heart of hearts, like, that it's going to get back to you, like, subconsciously somehow.
Even
They can't be
minor
that
ass-
dumb.
Like, literally anybody. It doesn't matter how small you are. If you're talking shit about me, someone's going to send it to me unless you at me. So either man up and at me and deal with the consequences,
Right.
or get ready, you know, because, like, you can talk, like, it's like they think that if they do it that way, there won't be any consequences for it.
Right.
And it's like, dude, you can block me and I'll still find out. You know, because I fucking can just open an incognito window. You're posting
Right.
on a public fucking platform. You
Shit
know?
is so fucking dumb, dude.
Yeah.
Really pisses me off whenever I see that shit.
Well, I see it literally like every 6 hours every day because
My God.
everybody talks shit all the time, and it's just because the funniest thing is it just for some reason I seem like an easy target, I guess, and it's so bizarre because like I don't think I'm that disagreeable. Like, is anything I say that fucking out there?
No, it's just because you put so much of yourself out there. That's it.
Yeah,
And like, just because you have so much out there, there's more to disagree with.
Yeah, and I mean, I get, like, just as often as, like, people shitting on me, I see the people who are like, I don't understand why everybody's shitting on Digibro. Like, what's going on? Like,
I think it's
what
because
did he
the
do?
things that you say that are disagreeable, you, like, don't shy away from. You know, like,
Yeah.
with the whole lolicon thing, like, most people, like, if they're into that, they wouldn't, like, be so emphatic about it. They
Right.
wouldn't go on the Dick Show and, like, be very
Yeah.
clear about it.
Dude,
And I think that's really where the problem comes
funniest
from.
shit in the world, though, is when people take things I said and then they try to attack me with the things I said like I didn't say it. Like, people like, literally, they'll quote me and be like, oh, you said this. And I'm like, yeah, no shit. I know, I said it. I said it on purpose because I believe in it. Like, where's your argument?
I think
like,
the point
you're not
of
gonna
that
make
is
me feel
they're not,
bad.
Right.
They're not
Exactly.
talking to you at that point. They're talking to the people who are going to see the tweet because
Right.
they're trying to
But
poison
they
your reputation.
They at me. People like at me.
Nah,
That's all I could probably go on the tweet deck right now and find you some
Goddamn-
fuck shit.
Sure, but
I'll
like
say.
we were just
It's-
saying how you want people to
Yeah.
at you. So
It's the
like,
fucking ulterior motives, you know?
some people are gonna say it because they know it's gonna get back to you. They might as well just at you and skip the middleman.
Yeah, but that's not the problem. It's like when it's something like trying to
Oh, it's retarded.
like ruin the reputation as opposed to like just talking shit, like doing it behind their back, ostensibly innocuous.
Alright, here we go. What's this guy on about? Here's the other thing, is that half of it turns into these, like, long-ass arguments between other people,
Oh,
and then
boy.
I can't even follow my mentions anymore, because
Right,
it's just like,
because
I don't
they
even know
still
what the
keep
fuck these people
mentioning
are
you.
talking about. Like,
Ever
I see
since
people
ever
on,
since
like-
Twitter updated their mention system, it's become a miasma of trying to follow these things.
Wait, what was it like before?
You had to like specifically mention somebody.
Yeah, because
Back in the day.
when you hit reply, it would put all of the names in your text. So, like, if you hit reply on somebody, it would list all 4 names, and you could just delete the ones who you weren't really a
Right.
part of the conversation
Yeah.
anymore.
Now
You
those
can't
don't
do
count
that
towards the
anymore.
character count, but you have to go into a different menu to uncheck people to be in that thread,
Wow.
and nobody
I
does
didn't-
it.
I didn't even know you could uncheck them.
You can do that.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's
Well, you
Wow,
can.
thanks Twitter
Yeah.
for telling me. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah. I'm still trying to find a good diss from today. There's so much fucking conversation going on.
Right.
Like,
Something's
at
what's
this
going on.
point, and granted, this is part of what I do love about being, like, when you do hammer on about something enough, the people get sick of hearing it, and they just start doing it for you. Like, I don't have to argue about the lolly shit anymore, because, like, even though it comes up literally every day, someone else will do the arguing. And they won't necessarily do it well. I wish they would just link my video where I talk about it, or something, you know, just like, if you want to defend me, but, like, I don't have to say anything, because there's like a whole bunch of people who are now like upset that they've had to hear about it so much, and now they want to be like, can we put a fucking end to this, you know?
Yeah, the video thing's not gonna work. Some mouth breather's gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna watch that. So you gotta.
Look at this.
Then you dive it. Yeah.
that's pretty dope.
Yeah, like, I heard apparently Mr. Cynical did a video about the lolly thing where he like actually like cited everything and like brought up every legal study and made the full case, because after the last time I had an argument about it, May went and looked up all the legal precedent, and like there's tons of legal precedent defending lolly art. Like,
Oh.
like if you do even a fucking moment's research on it, it's like fully defended by the law in America. So like, you know, regardless of now, individual state laws vary, but like, you know, on the Supreme Court level, lolly art has been defended in court.
Yeah.
So like, people making any kind of argument about the legality, y'all are ass out. And
Shit is wow. How about that?
Yep.
You learn something new every day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
And
Well, we are 2 hours and 18 minutes into this podcast.
Oh yeah. God
You guys
damn.
have anything else you want to talk about? Any more topics? For
Nothing
formless
really.
podcast.
I don't know.
Is that
Tom,
what
what have
we're
you been
calling
up to?
I've just been trying to code. That has been my entire life.
What is coding like?
Oh, I actually have something to say after this. You can go.
It's interesting. I mean, it's a different way of thinking from what I usually do because I'm much more of like a art visually based guy, and this is just like pure logic, and it's trying to just figure out like how to make something happen using like very basic logical conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you have like certain functions in programming, and like you have to make something complicated. Like I want to make a character swing a sword happen with like if or else this.
Yeah.
And like things like that. So it's like a puzzle. It's pretty cool. I like it, but it's very complicated, and the engine I'm using has basically no documentation.
Yeah.
And this is making it a lot harder.
I want to learn. I want to learn code, but I am terrified because I'm stupid.
It's just daunting. Is that it?
It's incredibly daunting.
It's definitely daunting, but like, it's worth it.
Tom is learning it at like a rate I would consider faster than a normal person, but I also trust you to be someone who could learn code. Like if you asked me, could Tom learn code, I'd say yes.
Right.
If you asked me, could Digibro learn code, I'd laugh. So
Well, I mean, with that out of attitude, you're setting yourself up for failure.
I guess so.
Well, shit, man.
I think you could learn HTML. HTML is pretty basic code
I mean,
stuff.
that's
Well, it's
like,
kinda like,
forum code, right?
It's like for websites.
yeah, I already know it.
It's
in
like
that case,
I mean,
on a basic level.
it goes a lot deeper, but yeah.
I did build a website in HTML. No, I didn't. I had HTML that I modified lightly,
I
but
mean,
I
that's-
understand it insofar as that.
A lot of the stuff I did for my original Sorcerer Sauce website was all like looking at code and trying to figure out how it worked.
Literally, I mostly know just like because I grew up on forums that all had HTML code built into them. So like I did a lot of
Back before you.
B/B I/I hex color 0000.
That's,
Jesus.
that's like little basic stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably don't know any of that
No,
shit.
not at all.
Back
Well,
before.
here, 'cause
I've never really
Back before HTML5.
I
gave you
know.
I should have like
versions of
some
everything.
little like any modicum of investment in code.
Watch
I really
this.
should.
I'm gonna teach you HTML real quick because I have a forum now for my patrons,
Oh shit.
and like,
It's
so
like-
let's say I type the forum, right, and I highlight this and I click on the bold, and then it shows me what the HTML code is.
Right.
So it's just bracket B, bracket /B. So anything within those brackets is bold, and so when you preview it, you'll see that it is bold. But like,
Oh shit.
so if I were to click on like, if I wanted to embed a YouTube video, it might be like URL equals then the URL, and then like that would be in brackets, and then like you would write like link here and then put /URL, and then that is now a link to the video.
Or if you want to do like an image, you do img src equals the URL and all that kind
right,
of garbage.
and it's pretty easy. And if you grew up on forums, you definitely know how to do it. But forums are
They're
slightly
an old,
before,
they're an old
probably
dinosaur.
slightly before your time.
No,
You didn't grow up on
use
the
forums a
GameSpot
bit.
forums. You're probably not very familiar
The
with it.
GameSpot forums, did they even have HTML on
A little
there?
bit. I mean, to add like your signature and stuff, you'd have to do
This shit,
HTML.
I'm using Forumotion, and it's got pretty extensive HTML. Like, it's got YouTube embedding right here in there, which is pretty nice.
Man, that's
and
nice.
Dailymotion embedding. And a Flash embed.
Oh,
That's
God.
fucking crazy. I can embed a whole fucking Flash game into a post here.
That Flash embed's not going to be long for this world.
No, not long.
God.
Forums were tight. I use God, I just remembered. There's this game. I'm not gonna talk about it a lot because I'm sure like literally no one listening to this played it. And if you did, contact me and we can.
This is
cry
a game
about it
called
together.
Undertale.
It's a game called Either Saga, and I fucking loved it. It did have a forum, and what were they called? Were they just called signatures? Was like
Yeah.
the thing that those stuff were.
Dude, there was a
really
cottage
silly.
industry of, like, making signature banners back in the day.
There was. I mean, I'm sure this still exists to a degree.
Because I grew up on otaku boards, and there was like a forum that was just like requests for signatures, because they had otaku boards was like a very like older members for the most part, and they wanted everything to be very clean, and so they had like a strict like size limit on images for banners. Like if you went above the size limit, they would immediately delete your banner.
Fuck.
So like if you didn't know how to Photoshop, like, there was always people in there trying to learn their Photoshop skills by making banners for people. So I might go in and be like, oh, I want, like, Manabi straight wearing Kamina sunglasses and, like, a This is literally what my banner was when Obama was running for presidency, because I was real into Obama because I saw him as literally Manabi from Manabi Straight / Kamina from Gurren Lagann. So I had, like, Manabi with Kamina sunglasses, like, quoting Obama as my banner. Circa 2008.
You might have to elaborate on that.
It was just, like, one of his slogans, like, hope and change or something
like
that. Okay. You know? Like,
I didn't think you actually did any research. That was the most surface level interpretation possible.
No, I just, like...
It's that one word it just connected with him.
Well, I would watch his speeches, and all of them were, like, every Obama speech is like a communist speech. It's all just like, believe in me who believes in you, America. Let's fucking do it. Like, and that's all I was
I feel
about
like this is an
when I
insult
was like,
It's like, guys, just vote for me and don't check in on what I'm actually
This
doing.
is like if a communist speech, if Kamina was looking to the left and the right at teleprompters the entire time talking to Simone.
Look, man, I didn't know what a teleprompter was back then. I was fucking just like, yo, black president, let's do it. Like, he was running it against like an old fuck, and granted, I was in a.
Let me see you.
My household is pure Democrat. Like there was no research happening in my household.
My
voting for the Democrat.
Was entirely the opposite. My dad's hardcore Republican, and so from the get go, Obama was bad news.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it was weird. My dad was pretty staunch Republican.
Then I have to ask, what is it like to grow up with a black Republican dad? I assume he's black.
He is black, yeah. Not as the thing was he would always talk about like fucking social programs and all that shit, but like he never tried to impress those ideals onto me, which is really cool. It's like he just let me come to my own conclusions, which was tight.
That's responsible.
Yeah, exactly.
Was he big into like Thomas Sowell and shit? Like,
no.
Because like a lot of the like black teachers I had growing up and shit, like any like black political figure, like just the fact that they were black and in politics was like they are now God. Like it doesn't matter what they did or stood for. It's just like this is a black person in a position of power. They are God.
Damn.
Like I had an English teacher who had like posters of Condoleezza Rice all over the place, and I'm just like, didn't like everyone hate Condoleezza Rice?
Something like that.
But she's, you know,
I don't know any specifics
powerful
about that.
black woman, and that was, and my
like
this
6,
teacher
right?
was.
And now there's Omarosa too. Well, she got kicked out of that White House, but yeah.
Omer from The Apprentice.
Yeah.
She's like a.
She was in the White House.
In the government.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought she was just like a drama queen from a show.
No.
I don't know anything about politics, by the way.
You know, Donald Trump's doing his thing. Just hiring whoever he can.
Trumping it up.
Yeah.
Oh, did he hire Omarosa?
Yeah.
I guess he
kicked her out.
You know, he'd know her from The Apprentice.
Wanted to relive the glory days.
Yeah. Tough. Didn't work out the way he thought it would.
Well,
apparently, according, I don't even know why we're talking about this, but she was kicked out onto the White House lawn, and the reports that she was like screaming, like at the White House.
I can see it.
And then she went on to Big Brother.
I see.
Yeah, after getting kicked out of the White House,
Oh
and she was
my
like,
God.
"Trump was such a bad person. God, there's so much stuff I want to tell you, but I can't because it's like legally binding and whatnot." But
God.
yeah.
I'm sure with this political climate, she could break NDA and nobody would care.
Yeah, like Trump would hold himself to that NDA. If he
She
was in
leaked
that
some
position.
shit too. She leaked some phone calls between her and Trump, and like what was it, the Situation Room, I think. She recorded herself in there, I think, something like that.
God.
Yeah.
This whole political
I
climate.
want to
It's
be
pretty crazy shit.
I really want to be Kanye West running mate. And like ever since back when it was first floated, when he first said he was going to run for president, like Jesse had said, I really would love it if Kanye became president because I feel like he'd get in the White House and immediately just reveal all the secrets. And I was like, that's what I want to do. Like that's my
declassify everything.
Well, look,
I just always bring up Bill Burr, but like Bill Burr had a bit about that where it's like you always vote for the crazy person because like you know there's no money behind them.
Yeah.
And then they're gonna reveal all the secrets because
Well,
they
and that's
just want the truth.
I think that like everyone is so worried about like the secrets. Secrets don't matter anymore. Like in a postmodern society, this shit is irrelevant because like I really think there was a time. I mean, first of all, like way back, there was not like crazy political intrigue. Like politics were a lot simpler back in the day. It was like we're going to war because of fucking resources or religion or like whatever. Like we knew what we were fighting about, and like sure they were probably manipulating the population to like hey, you're all Christians, so you'll fight for us,
right, exactly.
But like there's nothing complex about that. There's no backroom deals involved to the extent that there is. I mean, I could be underestimating how crazy shit
I feel like
was.
there's definitely some shit going on.
I'm sure, like, by the time you get to, like, the Victorian era, where there's, like, a lot of rich people, everyone's trying to fuck each other over.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm talking about, like, way back. Like, I'm sure it was a lot less complicated at a certain point in history, before there was, like, a rich upper class who was, like, controlling things. And, like, but in the information age, and an age where war, like, real war, like large scale, like world powers colliding is literally impossible because of mutually assured destruction.
Right, exactly.
And where the truth,
just scary.
like no matter how much they try to cover it up, the truth is out there. So it's just like at some point we got to say like why do you need secrets?
Yeah. Why do we need secrets when we have Infowars.com? It's giving us all the secrets anyway. There's no point.
It's just like you can't. Like
we know the frogs are gay now.
Like, they're constantly trying to do shit, and then it gets revealed immediately. It's like every time anybody tries to do some fuck shit, everyone knows. And, like, at this point, no one trusts anyone anyway. We all just assume you're doing fuck shit.
There's two ways to take that. Either, like, the government is just, like, sticking to its guns and, like, keeping all these secrets, and it's bullshit, and nobody cares, and, like, they shouldn't care anymore, or the actual secrets are so fucked that they're worth...
That's exactly what I was thinking.
I can't believe that.
Imagine.
Okay.
I want to live in a world where that is the case.
There's a great bit on the Dick show. Actually, it might have even been on The Biggest Problem in the Universe, where they were talking about conspiracy dipshits as one of the problems. Uh-huh. And Dick talks about how the reason that these conspiracy theorists want to believe in it is that it is comforting to think that the world makes that much sense.
Right.
But it's totally unrealistic. Because most of these people who are in political power are not that smart.
Wait, didn't Devu have a video about that?
He might have.
Yeah, I remember he said something like, "It's not that politicians aren't evil enough to do that; it's that they're not smart enough."
Right, like the people leading the country are not the intelligentsia. Like to have the charisma and to be able to like connect with the bell curve, you cannot like the people who are the most successful in this world tend to have IQ 110. Like. It's people who are just above the bell curve and can communicate with it really well and say its basic needs, but, like, they're not generally the people who would, like, come up with these crazy schemes. And, like, you could say maybe there's these super intelligent people behind the scenes manipulating everything, and it's like, when have you ever even heard of someone smart enough to do that? Or the connections? And, like, everything is so fucking badly run. It's just like, my biggest argument against the idea of, like, the Christian conception of God is if we are born in God's image, why are our bodies so fucked? Like, there's so many redundant parts. There's so much shit that, like, fails easily, doesn't work right. Like, appendicitis. Does God get appendicitis? Like, really? Like, why would God have an appendix? Why does he have tonsils? Like, this shit, we know the answer, obviously. Evolution.
Conrad,
so, like,
that's a metaphor.
So, like, if there are people out there who are capable of, like, running the world, why are they doing such an ass job that, like, nothing works? Like, no part of our society is functional. And it's like...
Because they don't care about the society functioning. They care about perpetuating their own status, like, which they're doing a damn good job of.
I don't know if they are, though. Because, like, I mean, if you look at the world as just...
1% of the world owns, like, 90% of the wealth. Like,
yeah, but that's because...
They've monopolized
all you have to do
resources and power.
All you need to know how to do is to move money. Like, to make money, you just need to know how to move money. It's not about, like, creating a system whereby you gain... Like, I think the problem is that, like, people think... Like, regular people equate, like, working hard with making money.
No. It's retarded.
Yeah, working hard has nothing to do with making money.
Working hard is how you don't make money.
Work
smarter, not harder.
And, like, And most of those super rich people, they got there just by making smart investments and, like, watching the market and moving their money around. And, like, you know, like, Warren Buffett, one of the richest men in the world, he's written a bunch of books about how he did it. It's pretty self-evident how he made all the money. He doesn't need to create a manipulated system where he's in control of everything.
Right.
Because the current system is just easy if you understand it. And, like, the fact of the matter is most of us don't want to have to do it because it's a pain.
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of work.
And it's, like, psychologically disheartening to even know the world works that way. Like, to even consider the idea that, like, oh, like, if I fucking gamble in the stocks all day, I'll make, you know, potentially 10 times as much as what I would working. It's just like, you know, how can you... It's like seeing Cthulhu. It's like, it breaks your mind. You can't really do it. You would prefer just the simplicity of, I get out what I put in, you know?
Exactly.
But, like...
It's a more convenient narrative.
Yeah, and I think that's why people believe in these global conspiracies, is that it's just... It's easier to think that all of this is happening for a reason, and it is, but the reason is that society is constantly expanding and growing and changing, and it's just being built on top of itself. And, like, if you even just, like, go through a city block and see the amount of, like, work being done to try to, like, update everything, and then you see all the shit that isn't updated yet, and how just everything's broken because it's just people are evolving too fast and the world's changing too fast and we just can't manage it. And it's like, you look at all that and you're like, first of all, it's insane that the system hasn't already collapsed, and the main reason it hasn't is that not enough people are aware enough of what's going on to be as afraid as they should be. And as soon as you know what's going on, fear and loathing. That's your life. And that's the Hunter S. Thompson narrative, is the power of fear and loathing to make it through. To just recognize that, like, the power you can take in it is once you see how broken the system is, you realize, oh, it's a game. Like, I just need to know how to play the game, you know, and do whatever I want, basically.
You know, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Very fascinating that these people at the top, like people like Bill Gates, can you know, participate in these, like, social media stuff and, like, be all cheery and happy about like stuff. It's like he knows what's going on. Yeah. Like, he has such an acute understanding of, like, he has to. He's a fucking billionaire.
I think like, all of them do, and, like, I think that most of them are just like, I don't know how to explain it to you people. Like I think they literally
that should make him even more sad.
It probably, I mean, I think he probably projects an image, because, like, imagine if Bill Gates was, like, emo on Twitter. Like, he would never hear the end of it. It would be all... People would shit on him literally for the rest of time if he made, like, one emo tweet. Like, think about how much shit Jaden Smith gets for being, like, emo.
Not even emo. I'm not even asking him to be emo. Just, like...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like... It's... How would I say it?
Once you've seen the man behind the curtain, how do you function like a normal person?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He probably doesn't run a Twitter account, that's how.
Probably, yeah.
I just think, like...
He's probably just, pretty much exclusively on the calculating side. That's, like, weird seeing people like Elon Musk just, like, straight up existing. You know?
Yeah, Elon Musk is... I feel like he's a pretty... Like, Elon Musk strikes me as a guy who is, like... literally just concerned with, like, I gotta get people off of planet Earth, and, like, we gotta get out of the third dimension. Like, that, I think that's all that's running through his
He's an
head.
anomaly. That's
like,
crazy. Like, someone with that much leverage.
Yeah.
Like, just
it's
having that one streamlined goal.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Crazy.
I think that's what we're... And this is kind of what I was getting to when I was saying that, like, it doesn't make sense to have secrets anymore. Because, like, when you're in a world where, like, more and more people, like, get it. Like, we're all like, hey... No one trusts the government anymore. Like, we elected a known liar because we were just like, the fact that he lies is not a counterpoint to his ability to lead. If it was, then we wouldn't have had any of the presidents we've had. Like, we might as well have the guy who just lies so openly that he's not even trying to... Like, I really think that Donald Trump... I really think he's trolling, like, most of the time on Twitter. Because, like,
he knows. Because
most of it, like he's lying in such a way that if you are even slightly intelligent, you see through it, and like, that's on purpose.
No,
like, he knows you see through it.
It is so fucking well documented. Like, he lies, like, it's like, I don't know, like hundreds a week or something like that. Like, someone, like,
And
tallying it up.
it's like it's just to keep you it's just to keep you occupied.
Yeah.
While he does whatever he
It was really interesting.
is in there to do.
I don't know if you read Scott Adams' blog during the election cycle.
I did not.
He has this awesome blog. He was
He did
basically
some vlogs too,
documenting.
right?
He did some vlogs too. He was big on Periscope for a while. But he just documented all the things Trump was doing the entire campaign because he called Trump winning years before it happened.
Yeah.
Because he said, like, this guy's a master manipulator. And, like,
Right.
everything he's doing is done for a reason. And he would document what he called linguistic kill shots. And he's like, things he would specifically say to knock people out of the primaries and stuff. And just documented the whole thing.
Have seen Emp Lemon's video,
Yeah.
Donald Trump meme theory? How he won the election with memes.
I love that video.
It's great, and it made me realize, like, weirdly, it made me, like, not afraid of Donald Trump. Because the way I see it, all the shit he's saying, all of it is just there. Like, and literally everything he does, everything he says is just there to make people, like, you know, like, to make the smart people move on and the dumb people fight, and then he can just do what he wants to do.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly what he's trying to do, but, like, based on the things he has done, it seems like he's just trying to call the bluff of other nuclear powers. Like, that's what I think he, like with the whole Korea situation, like, he got North Korea to step down basically by just saying, oh yeah, fucking do it then. And everyone was like, he's gonna start a war, and it's like, no, he's not, because mutually assured destruction has been a thing this whole time.
It's so weird
If
because
North Korea was actually crazy enough to do it, they would have done it.
But the craziest thing is,
A long
you're
time
absolutely
ago.
right. But like the craziest thing is like, he's using the same tactics on the media, like American media, Western media, that he's using on them. It's like, how would he know that that works? Like, it's unprecedented.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I really think that he's just coming out there and being like, if this is a world of bullshit and I know it, let me call you all on your bullshit. Like, media, you're full of shit, and the fake news thing is so... That phrase is the most powerful phrase probably constructed in the last, like, decade. Yeah, because people on both sides use it now. Like,
yeah, for sure.
He invented it, and, like, the liberals are just as into using the term fake news. Like, almost like they... Like, they don't even act like they did. Like, they act like they came up with it themselves.
Yeah.
Like, no, everyone just...
they're trying to act like they reappropriated it. But it's
so
a bipartisan
potent.
thing.
And it's so potent because we all know it's true. And, like, I already... Like, long before Trump, I hated the news. I've hated the news for a long time.
Shit's garbage.
I've been, like, campaigned against, like, don't watch the news because you are poisoning your mind. Because... It's all constructed by somebody, and they have no incentive to be truthful. They have no incentive. They only have an incentive to spin whatever narrative will profit them because they are run by media corporations. You know, like,
right? Exactly.
Like, just listen to the phrase Fox News. It's Fox. It's fucking Fox. Like, it's a fucking media corporation. Why would they want to give you news? Why would any of them want to? Like,
they're all owned by, like, you know, Coca-Cola or whatever the fuck not. Like, at the end of the day.
Like, what incentive do they have to be honest with you?
They all have...
Especially if they can get away with lying because no one gives a fuck, and most people just trust them because they're on television, even though nothing on television
all those
is
people are
trustworthy.
activists pushing an agenda because that's what gets views, and then they all have, you know... advertisers they have to appease. Like, there's nothing...
So for Trump to just come out and be like, fake news, and it's just like, the entire system is now just completely fucked.
It's crazy, because, like...
No one's ever going to trust the news again.
I think the scariest thing about Trump is that, how do I say it? There's this tactic that he uses that, he will sort of delegitimize the points that are being used against him preemptively. Yeah. So, like, his base... So, when it comes to that point, when his detractors use those points against him, it's like his base was already like, yeah, that's bullshit. Trump already addressed that a long time ago. It's like he does that. And it's crazy. Like, he has this amazing foresight where he just keeps on doing it. It's like, bam, bam, bam. And it's like, you can't get this guy. It's crazy. Well, it's like, and he just keeps on going lying.
I understand how he pulls it off, because... I am a Teflon person. Like, and do you know this term Teflon? Like
nothing sticks to you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, you know, and it's mostly used in politics. But, like, the reason that I am able to deflect criticism of myself is that there's nothing you can say about me that would hurt me unless I do something provably wrong. It doesn't matter what I say, because what you say does not matter. It's all anything that's coming out of your mouth you can call art on some level. Like, it's all expression.
That's what Alex Jones did.
Yeah, so
That's
like...
the legal defense he used.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what is he legally defending himself from?
There's tons of like lawsuits against him because he's gone on record saying like Sandy Hook was a hoax and things, and like the parents of the people who died in Sandy Hook have like sued him like multiple times.
He said it was like parody. It was like,
yeah, and like he's won most of those cases.
I mean, like,
Mad
the
lad.
dude fucking sits in front of a green screen in his house. Like, if you're listening to him, you're the dumbass. Like, he literally
he's
films
pretty entertaining.
InfoWars in his house.
Dude, I watched when I was in my conspiracy theory phase. I watched all of his movies. They're fucking great. They're so entertaining.
Great voice.
I didn't know he had movies.
Oh, before he did the Alex Jones show, like before that became big,
I had no
he
idea.
would do 2-hour fake documentary movies about
boy.
how Obama is crazy and shit. Oh, it was so fun.
What?
It was so fun. They're all on YouTube. You can watch for free. The
Ooh.
Obama deception, dude. That's a fucking movie right there. Let me tell you.
Like for me,
Bilderberg Group. They're out
Whoa.
to get you, dude.
Yeah.
like if I
Owlheads.
if I was doing anything like wrong, like if I was actually doing something that was hurting someone, then you could get me like that, right? Like if you do something that hurts somebody, it's very easy to come down on you. But if you say something, you can always just say, I didn't mean it, you know, and like you probably didn't, because nothing means anything. Like the world is an illusion. Meaning is fake. It's like, and if you feel that way, it's like you don't have to really have, like, I think most people, they live by a conviction that they feel that they are a person. Like, I am this person and I do this person and I say this person. But if you relinquish that, if you say I am nobody and I say whatever's on my mind, then you can't, you're like unbeholden to anything. It's like nobody can say like, oh, you're lying, because you're like, well, of course I'm lying. Like, there's no such thing as truth.
Right.
You know? I guess
Wow.
it's just a postmodern way of thinking, I
Right.
guess, and I understand why it pisses people off so much, why people fear postmodernism, but like, ultimately, no matter how postmodern you get, actions will always matter.
Right.
Ultimately, if you do something, that is what can hold against you. And what Trump gets away with is that he says so much shit, and he does so little of what he says.
It's crazy.
You know?
It is insane.
Yeah, and like, granted, I don't even keep track of what he does enough. That's why I never say like I.
And like the
I
stuff that he doesn't do, the stuff that his base wants that he doesn't do, like he gives the bullshit reasons,
Right.
that he's not able to do them, but the group, his base believes him.
Yeah, it
And it's
doesn't-
crazy because and then CNN's gonna be like, no, actually the Democrats aren't stopping you from locking kids in cages. It's like, yeah, but like this and this and this.
Yeah.
And then his base just like takes that and it's like,
his
perfect.
base is irrelevant to him. I think like I don't think anyone's opinion is relevant to him at all. Like,
That is
if anyone's gonna get Trump, he has to do something. And like
sure.
you're never gonna get him on him saying something, because he will say anything, because saying things doesn't matter.
oh my god.
And like as soon as people wake up to that, they'll have such an easier time dealing with it. Like, it would be so much easier if people just didn't get stumped. That's literally his tactic, is to stump you. You get stumped by Trump. He is the unstumpable man.
Can't stump
If you just
Trump.
don't get stumped by the words, you just wait for the actions, you can do something, But like,
They don't want to wait. They want to take.
Is it ever gonna come? That's the question.
I don't know. I mean, I don't follow like his, because I've heard this way and that. Like, people will tell me like, oh, Trump's already done so many bad things. I'm like, what has he done? And they're like, he said this. And I'm like, well, did he do it? Did he do anything yet? Like, I have not once seen
problem
someone be
is
like, here's something Trump
people who are
did.
super left don't think there's any difference between words and actions. So like the words are damning enough, and they want blood for that.
I know he's done things like people say, oh well, he just elected like 2 more Republican Supreme Court justices, so now there's more Republicans instead. I'm like, okay, we'll have those justices done anything?
Wait, is it
like,
5-4 or 6-3?
I have no fucking idea.
Yeah. But like,
anyway, I wouldn't have been able to tell you how many.
Is that? But my question in response to that is like, what's your point? Like, what did you expect was gonna happen? Like, would you expect him to like? Is that even unjust? The only reason you say it's unjust is because you hate Republicans.
Right, and it's like, well, like they have an agenda that they're saying is what they're gonna do.
Because if Hillary won the election and she put 2 Democrats on there, you'd be saying this is a great time for America.
Oh my god!
So
we're finally moving forward.
Get fucked. It's all about equity, unless they're not on your side.
Just because I realize this conversation has been so complicated and linguistically loopy, I just want to come out and say I'm not a Trump supporter.
I'm not either. Just want.
Yeah, and like I just literally don't know what he's done. Like, you can tell me all day what he said, but tell me what he's done.
Oh, you mean like something that's like an impeachable offense? Yeah, he signed a...
Yeah.
Okay. Because I was going to say he signed a bunch of executive orders and whatnot.
Yeah, but what do they do? Like, what are they? Did he do anything, like, really impactful?
No.
Like,
he did something that are impactful in the sense that we don't have to worry about it anymore, rather than like... it's like something like, what was it? TPP? Trans-Pacific Partnership. It's like this huge.
He acts
I know about
right?
the TPP.
Yeah.
He killed the TPP. That sounds like a great thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's done a lot of good stuff.
What has he
too.
done? Tell me something Trump has actually done that I should be mad about before I just feel like there's this insistence that if you're not mad about Trump, you are just a bad person. And I'm like, tell me what I'm supposed to be mad about. Because the fact that he lies doesn't bother me because I don't believe in truth. So you gotta hit me with something better than that.
That's
you know?
crazy, yeah.
Not saying not saying I like him because I don't know the good things he's done either. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel about him.
I don't know. I do have a problem with his lying, simply because it is exacerbating the social climate. Mm. And
there is that, and I hate the social climate. That's for sure. But
it's really fucking bad.
That's less to do with. I mean, it is Trump's fault, but it's also like it doesn't matter who's in the White House. There's going to be lying, and there's going to be a political climate that's bullshit. So
absolutely.
How do you really avoid that?
I think the political climate is more the result of the existence of social media, even than because it's made. I really think, and I talked about this in my recent video about otaku culture oasis, where I was talking about how, like, the weird thing about social media is that it's, like, moved us all into the same neighborhood together, and it makes no sense, because it's like if you're somebody who, like, you generally try to live somewhere with people who are working towards the same goal as you. So why would you move into a neighborhood where everyone's working towards different goals and there is no way to progress? Like, on Twitter, there is no such thing as progress. It's just fighting. No one changes their mind.
Right.
No one turns to the other side. Like, they might find a voice that changes their mind ultimately, but it won't be through Twitter. They'll find somebody and then they'll go watch their videos and then they'll, you know, have an effect. But, like, we all hang out here and we get mad and we argue and squabble, and it's like, why is any of us here? What are we hoping to achieve? And, like, everyone seems to have it in their head that you need to be on Twitter or else you're missing out on the conversation.
Uh-huh.
You don't need to be having the conversation. You don't need to be talking to the people on Twitter, because it's not a conversation that has any benefit to anybody.
Exactly. But, I don't know. I don't think the goal of Twitter is to, you know, try to reach any social good or anything like that. I think it's just like,
it's just a tool.
Yeah.
Well,
it's just like a convenient place for people to convene. It's like how you know all these social media giants are just like
I wrote once,
centralizing everything.
Because I've been on Twitter since 2008, and so a fucking decade now. And, like, I wrote a thing about it one time about how what I loved about Twitter is that you can basically just, like, say, here's something I want to talk about. Who wants to talk about it with me? Is basically what a tweet is. It's just like, hey guys, just watch this anime, and like you don't have to go to a place where you know people have seen the anime. You can just shout out, and if someone happens to have an opinion on the same thing, they can respond. And it's an easy way to feel a very quick bite of a sense of community or camaraderie just by any random flight of fancy you have. And like for me, you know, I have a broad range of tastes and interests. If I say listen to a new album, I don't know, like, no one in my Discord is going to necessarily have heard it, but if I go on Twitter and I post about it, someone in my follower base might have heard this album and can give me a response, and I'm like, cool, kinship, you know? But, like, the thing is that Twitter, like, innately puts you, like, it's not as though you can just hang out with people who are like-minded individuals. You might create a bubble of those people through who you follow and who you unfollow,
Right.
but you are never alone with them. You're always right next door to the guys you hate, and therefore you're gonna fight with them. And it's going to happen. You're gonna block people. You're gonna end up in a situation where you argue or
Just make
you
your
get
account
hate.
private.
You can do that, but like, I don't know. I just feel like there's better avenues that we should be exploring. Other than like the way and the biggest problem with it is just that social media at a time was not so centralized. It was not like everyone's in one feed. It was like,
This is why I'm
know?
excited about alt tech and DAT. I
yeah,
want
we
DAT
gotta
really
get into the
bad.
DAT revolution. Do you know about DAT?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Alright.
Me and Tom have been on a big kick of trying to like find the next internet, I guess.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Like, because right now we're in like Web 2.0, right?
Okay.
Or is it 3.0?
I think it's still technically 2.0, but like
We need to escape Web 2.0 is basically where we're going. Because Web 2.0 is a big failure. It's just everybody corralled into 5 social media sites fighting each other over nothing. So where we need to go is into a decentralized, uncontrolled libertarian paradise, I guess, is what we're talking about.
I'm not even going
Everything
that
needs
far.
to be on the blockchain.
Like for me, what I want to
do. You
do.
know about the blockchain?
What is it?
It's what all cryptos are run.
Oh yeah.
So like everything.
Yeah, I thought it was like a euphemism for something.
No,
I know about
we
this,
want
yeah,
everybody to be on the. Everything is cryptocurrency. Everything is independently coded websites. What was that fucking YouTube alternative?
So how it?
YouTube.
PeerTube.
Yeah.
We gotta get into PeerTube.
Well, wasn't there this other one that you were advertising on one of your videos?
DTube.
DTube.
Something like
DTube. DTube was blockchain based. The problem with DTube is that in order for it to function, there has to be a lot of people hosting the blockchain, and there's not enough, and so
okay.
it runs like dick.
Okay.
PeerTube is something that runs through an alternative browser called DAT. That
Well, that PeerTube isn't DAT. PeerTube can run in HTTP, so it can be used by anything.
Oh well, whatever.
Which is technically
I thought we had to be on DAT to use PeerTube.
not for that.
All right. Here's the question though. How exactly does moving to this new platform, this new paradigm, how exactly does that prevent the same thing from happening again?
That's my whole point. It doesn't. As soon as that becomes saturated, you're gonna jump to the next thing.
I don't know. Well,
So is that what's happening?
the great thing about PeerTube is that it's first of all, it's all peer-to-peer sharing for the video files. So if, say, a company wants to take down your videos, they have to come to you. Like, PeerTube itself as an entity has no incentive to take down your shit because they're not hosting your
It's because
shit.
it's technically not a website, it's a software.
Ah.
So you run
So-
your own instance of PeerTube and you host
Right.
your content on there. And then you can network with other people's PeerTube instances and share your libraries with each other. So you basically
Okay.
create a YouTube...
And they call this a content federation.
Right.
So the idea is like, so let's say that I have a server that has the files of all my videos on it, and I have my own PeerTube, which you can completely design yourself. You literally make your own YouTube, and it's just like, and you can like design the functions and rules of it, you know, to customize to your fit. Then you have your YouTube, and then let's say Tom has his own YouTube, and I want to host his YouTube on mine. So now it's like a
Right.
combined of both, and whoever is like it's all peer to peer like torrenting. So like you know if enough people are hosting it, then
And
It's
like,
just
Digi,
out there.
This is something that like you haven't been talking about, so I don't know if you like understand. With PeerTube, you can have people sign up and contribute to your PeerTube.
Oh.
And you can
Well, that's
set
cool,
whatever
too.
rules you want for
So
uploading.
you literally are making your own YouTube.
Yeah. So you, like right now,
Shit.
you can sign up to someone else's PeerTube and be on there.
And so, like, if somebody uploaded, like, an anime episode or something to my PeerTube, then if they want to sue me, they have to come sue me, not YouTube, you know? And if I decide I'm going to defend myself, which I probably wouldn't in this case, but, like, basically they can't just send me DMCAs on my PeerTube unless they want to, like, fight me individually, I guess. And, like, it would be such a decentralized space that it would be, like, impossible to police, you know? And we wouldn't be answering to YouTube. So, like, now the question is, like, the greatest power of YouTube is that it can put you in front of an audience, and that's why everybody uses it. But, like, if we can find a way through just independent advertising and branding to get people onto your PeerTube, you know, then it's all your rules, basically.
I mean, another thing that I'm really interested, I like PeerTube's really cool, but I'm more interested in DAT. And what DAT is another kind of protocol for running, like, basically another version of the internet. So right now, like, all websites are using, like, what's it called, HTTP. Like, that's why it's in front of all, like, your addresses. And so how HTTP works is that if you want to make a website, you buy storage space on a server, you host your content there, people access that server, and it serves those people your website.
Okay.
DAT works like torrents. So if you want to start a website, instead of going to a company who owns web space and buying the server space from them, your computer is the server. So it doesn't cost you anything. You just make your website, post it, and have it hosted through your own computer locally, and then it seeds that website to anyone who visits it.
Oh, okay.
So then every time someone leeches it and downloads it, they host it temporarily as well. So instead of needing a server that can be crashed by tons of traffic, your effective speed and like bandwidth increases exponentially with your traffic. So it's free, doesn't cost any money, and it's basically scale proof.
So yeah, because the biggest problem with trying, like, me and Tom for a long time wanted to just build our own website where we would host our videos. Tom figured out that and this is why YouTube is so powerful, and I don't think enough people understand this, like why they can't be toppled. My Sword Art Online analytical diatribe video, like, Tom ran a calculation of, like, how much server space we would need to host, like, the number of views that video had, and it was, like, prohibitively expensive to make just that one video. Like, the amount of, because every single time somebody loads it, you know, they're loading, like, an entire hour of this thing off of that server, and, like, it had 300,000 views at the time, and it was, like, oh yeah, we would need to own a really powerful hosting to make this possible, and it would be more expensive than it's worth for us as individuals. For YouTube, they can just host an endless amount of server space because they recoup the losses in the overall ad revenue and all the you know, deals they have and everything. Assuming they even recoup the loss because they've supposedly always been in the red.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, but it's because YouTube's worth to Google is not the ad revenue YouTube makes, it's the data that they collect on the users. So, like, ultimately, this is why nobody can compete with YouTube, because they're willing to just eat the costs to collect your ad data.
And this is why VidMe died, because they had no way of scaling up to do all the server costs.
But if we're on something where it's peer-to-peer, then literally the more views and the more popular you get, the easier it is to host your content, and the less expensive, because it's just everyone who accesses it is hosting it, as opposed to just you on your server. So, like, if there was a way to escape the YouTube overlord paradigm, it has to be something like this, where it's no one's in control of it, and it's cost effective to be independent.
I think the most interesting thing for me with DAT, though, is that at least for right now, DAT only works in certain browsers. Like, there's a browser called the Beaker browser, which is just a fork of Chromium, and it works with this protocol. And I don't see any of these major companies ever implementing it in their browsers, because, like, Google's, like, bread and butter is, like, selling advertising space and, like, server space. So, like, why would they put this in there? So I don't think DAT's ever going to outright replace HTTP unless there's a huge, like, big cultural shift. But I kind of like that, because I like my, like, best time on the internet was, like, in 2003, 2004, on Newgrounds where like not
Before
everyone was
everyone
on the internet. It was just people who
Yeah, okay.
got it. And if this
Yeah.
DAT thing can become like an underground sort of like niche
Yeah.
thing, then you're with your people again. Everybody who's
Yeah.
watching you and can find your shit, they get it because they have to get it in order to even find it in the first place.
Right.
Right.
And that's what I want.
I just want it to be like the only way it's gonna work out for people is if going there is financially viable. Because like ultimately, we all could leave YouTube, we just won't because it just serves you to too many fucking people. But like, if we had
Too convenient.
enough people who believed in the alternative to make a branding push for it, like when it comes to this is the same theory as with Patreon, and Devu talked about this in a video recently about how like if you want to get patrons, you have to do a stunt. Like you have to do something that convinces them in one fell swoop that like they need to give you their money, and they'll stay forever, you know, unless you like really fuck up. But like you're not going to get people by just doing the same average thing that other people are doing. You have to like make a name for yourself, make a statement, and that's what gets people attached. And so far with all these YouTube alternatives, they've been so similar to YouTube
Right.
that it doesn't offer anything to the viewer base to go there. So I think that the way we're going to get people to make this switch is you have to do something that you couldn't do on YouTube. It has to be that like we have these DAT sites, we have these things set up in such a way that like we're showing you that like, hey, YouTube is too limiting to do this, but with this new technology, we are capable of doing this without having to buy a server to make it possible. you
Yeah,
know?
at this point, I guess it's pretty much. It's only the way it's fundamentally run that could really be seen as a significant benefit.
Right.
Because like, what features can competitors?
Most of them have way
So-
less features. Like both
Yeah,
for
exactly.
both for the fans and for the creators. Like the reason I was so hesitant to switch to like VidMe or something is like you can't really even customize your fucking shit on there the way you can
Exactly.
on YouTube, you know? And like my biggest problem with YouTube is how little customization there is.
Right.
And there's even less on these other websites. Like
I
with
think no
PeerTube,
one's-
you can literally fundamentally alter the functions of the website, and that's what I want. I want it to be where like I want to create some kind of labyrinth. Like my favorite type of web design is labyrinthine web design, where let's say I make a video and I tell you, hey, click on the screen to go to part 2. But secretly, there's actually 9 different screens that you're watching, and whichever one you click leads you somewhere different. You have no way of predicting this or knowing what the zones are. Everyone's on a different adventure. I made a website, tunneling game like this, called Inverted Sweetie Belle, back in the My Little Pony days, where
Right.
it was image-based. Like, you click on the images to progress, but secretly each image is multiple images, and depending on where you click on it, it takes you on a different adventure
Oh, okay.
without you knowing. So, like, you could do that theoretically with PeerTube because you can literally customize the entire viewing experience. And, like, if we create something like that, and it has to be, like, narrative. It has to be something that people would care about, not just a stylistic gimmick, but, like, create a story that could only be told this way. People will be like, oh my fuck, like, this is not something I could have gotten on the surface web or on YouTube, you know? And that's what I think we need to move forward. But
Fucking hell.
how am I supposed to have time to think about how to do this if I have to make money right now in the moment? It's just like the amazing line in Atlanta episode 4, I want to say, where Donald Glover's character says, like, poor people don't have time to make investments. Like, you know,
Right,
sure,
exactly.
it could
It's
double
straight-
my money, but I
straight
need the money
up.
now, you know?
It's like, I watched this documentary a few years ago, just like about how perilous the situation of people in the lower class really is. It's like straight up they're working like literally every single day,
Yeah.
and like
And if they miss a paycheck, they're fucked.
they're done. Yeah, they're just
Yeah.
straight up done. And then like that Flint, Michigan video that I did,
Yeah.
it's like these
That
water
shit-
bills are fucking them over too, and it's like they're not even using those utilities.
The
It's like
fucking... That shit is, like, mind-boggling. Like, literally just, like, ruins the brains of a generation. It's just like, oh, there's lead in the water now.
Yo,
you all have anger issues.
There are
you know?
fucking schools dedicated to these kids that have these cognitive issues. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, how fucked is it that they have like countermeasures or whatever, but like they have like this new established fucking thing.
Yeah.
Just for like these kids that are fucked up. It's like, why didn't you just like fix the problem? And like, why are none of the politicians that let this go like in fucking jail?
It's like
they knew about it. They fucking knew about it. That is crazy.
I feel like it's so hard for the rest of the country to understand the concept of like the tap water's making you crazy. Like, how do you explain to people the tap water can actually make you crazy? Like, not necessarily crazy, but like, you know.
Right, exactly.
Like, it really fucks with your brain. And it's like, but then at the same time, that is already the macro problem with America. We're all on sugar, which also fucks with your brain. And like, so it's just like, that's just the way the country is run. We're just all letting ourselves get like like,
I think
I really think that when people say there's a mental health epidemic, what I would say is there is a totalization of mental health deficiency in America. I have never met an American without a mental problem. Like, have you ever met anybody who you didn't think had a psychological disorder of some kind?
Like any kind, yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like I think people conceive of this idea of like that there are normies out there who don't have any psychological problems. No, they just have a different type.
Right.
And that's
just not as apparently prevalent.
Yeah, or one that works with society better
right.
than yours does. But like, I mean, if you were to watch any show that people like, it's just a catalog of mental disorders. Like, if you watch an HBO drama, it's like, here's 20 people, each of them has a different mental disorder, let's explore it, and you go, oh, that's just like my cousin, oh, that guy's just like my uncle, oh, this character is just like my friend, oh, all my friends are fucking crazy.
Man, it's from Michigan stuff. I forgot, I was gonna say something else. Something about, oh, right. A lot of the time, people just need the visual to really connect with what's going on.
Yeah.
It's like,
everything's a statistic.
like, they're hearing about it, they're reading about it, but then, like,
context.
they're seeing these kids that are, like, adversely affected by this water that they're drinking. A utility that we take for granted every day. It's like, holy shit, it's really happening. And no one's accountable for it.
Yeah.
Damn. I think it's like 2 people went to jail. That's it. Are you fucking serious? There's a whole the whole catalog of people in charge. They all knew about it. Yeah. They all greenlit this like water and this pipe system that it had like lead cover. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ.
Just thinking about it's making you
it makes me so fucking lit. Jesus.
Yeah, fairly so, I would say.
Yeah.
Man,
we really have to tackle the classism. That's really the big problem in the country.
There's this great, I want to call it a rap song, but it's more of a spoken word thing by, I don't even remember who the fuck it was by. Someone linked this to me randomly. It was like a 9-minute song where this dude was just like, basically ranting about how like, the biggest problem in the country ultimately is that like, yeah, the class divide is all of the problems. Like, the people you can, like, if you are having problems with people who are in the same class as you, realize that they are just living the same life you are, but under different, words. Like,
right.
Like, if you get 2 different people with different religions, all religions are the fucking exact same thing. Like,
exactly.
We all know this. This is obvious, but, like, the use of the idea of division between these is just to keep the lower classes fighting with each other and not recognizing who their real enemy is, And, like, I think that people are, again, they jump too much to, like, conspiracy level with it, where it's not like there's rich people out there hand-wringing and going, I'm gonna teach religion, I'm gonna become, I'm gonna pay some pastors to fucking... No, it's more like the system is just perpetuating itself. No one has to do anything. And the only way to get to break free of it is literally to get woke, but now that everyone has a different definition of what woke is, then it doesn't help to say that.
I think it's going back to what we were kind of saying before, how like people want there to be like that narrative, they want to have that clarity, when it's just a chaotic system, and this is how the dust is settled.
Yeah. And the problem is that in order to understand it, you literally have to stare into the void. Like, I one of my biggest problems with the country is that, like, there's not enough attention paid to mental health. And I understand that the reason why is that to address mental health means to admit everything. Like, in order to deal with your inner demons, you have to admit what's happened to you and what you've done. Right. And can you and like what the truth is. Because, like, you can't have... I mean, you can work... There are therapists out there who will, like, you know, teach you coping mechanisms without having to, like, confront your religion, let's say, right? Uh-huh. But, like, if you really want to understand yourself, you're going to have to admit...
Gonna have to go deep.
You know, you're going to have to admit that everything's a fucking fake and that all of it is just systems that are in place. And when you go that deep, like, it literally is seeing Cthulhu. It's the same thing. Like, you will go insane. And, you know, I crossed that bridge when I was, like, 14, so I'm just, like, I've been void gazing ever since. Like, I spend most of my time just thinking about existential dread and the world being an absurdist nightmare. But, like, you know, I understand why most people wouldn't want to go this road.
Ooh, that's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Got no control. Especially, you know, working class as we are.
Yeah. But, like, that's why I admire people like Hunter Thompson and Dick Masterson, because both of them are people whose... Basically, the coda underneath everything they do is, hey, you can stare into the void all day and admit the truth to yourself, and there is still a way to win. You can do whatever you want. There is a way to stick it to the man. You just have to have the sheer balls to do it. You know?
This is the way that I explain it. Because everything that is told to us that is valuable, that is told... What did I just say? Everything that is said to be valuable is like something that was like instilled to us by like societal values and whatnot. But it's like once we realize that, you know, these were culturally taught to us. Yeah. It's like, hey, we can just relearn that and like find our own values and like find our own happiness. You know.
Super important.
And I think that it's important to recognize, and I think this is kind of a misunderstanding that happens between two sides of the political aisle, especially, where I think that a lot of people who are lower class are really offended by the idea when someone like tells them like you have to just get it by your own hands, and they're like, well, I don't have the opportunity to do that. Like, you know, the world is stacked against me, and it's like, yeah. It is. Right. You still have to get it by your own hands because no one will give it to you.
That's why I really like this guy, Gary V, who talks... He's like...
Vanderchuk.
Yeah, he's fucking sick, dude.
It's like you can wait
He says
around.
all the time, he says, like, taglines is, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about your problems. Nobody gives a fuck about helping you solve it. You gotta do it all yourself.
It's like, yes, the world is fucked up, and you are held down, and it is unfair, but, like, that... You knowing that will not help you unless you do something about it. And like
you can wallow in it, or you can be like, this is how it is.
Success always comes from risk taking. Like you will never succeed without like whatever you're gonna have to do will be fucking terrifying. But like if you don't do it,
and that's why like I'm always pissed off,
you know?
when like I'm not pissed off, but like it always seems like wrong-headed to say like, oh, like I'm trying, I just want to be happy, and it's like happiness is great, but happiness is like fast food. Like, I think the thing, like, people really need is purpose.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been on about.
And, like...
For sure.
Gotta find my purpose.
And that means that, like, you're basically, like, making yourself intentionally unhappy in the short term in order to have that purpose and be content.
But it works. Because people who lack purpose will just, like, even if you're... Psychopaths explores this, where they... mandatory happiness. It's like... They placate everyone to such an extent that there are some people who lose a sense of purpose and they just take like basically if you're someone who's like on opiates at all times, this is what it is. It's having no sense of purpose for your money. So you have money, and this is this is why so many rich people end up with a drug problem and die, is because they get all this money and then they're like, I don't know what to do with myself, so I'll just spend it on making myself happy. What's the quickest way to do that? Drugs. Oh, turns out that when you do drugs and you realize that, like, there is no inherent meaning in life, which is going to become very apparent once you have money.
Right.
Like, you know.
Right, exactly. It's like, the thing is, I keep on losing track because I'm fucking like half asleep right now.
It's fun. It's like
2 a.m.
1:40. We should probably wrap this up soon.
Yeah.
We'll have to go to bed.
It's just like, well, the first step to, fixing your problem is realizing that you have a problem. But it's like, so many people just wallow in the fact that they realize that the problem is something that exists, and then they're like wallowing in that fact. It's like, you just gotta, you just gotta start running. You gotta run up that hill. Put the fucking.
You can't like get tied down with like too many like externalities and like you're measuring for success. Like my whole thing is that like I'm just working for the grave at this point. It's just like I want to have everything on the table when I'm dead, and like that doesn't mean like making a fuck ton of money, because like it doesn't matter how much money I make. It doesn't matter when I'm dead. Like I just want to do the things that I want to do, live the experiences that I want to live, so that like I don't have any regrets when I'm dead. And that's it. And like that means that like there's going to be suffering and pain and discomfort, and I'm not going to have all the great things that people say you should have, but none of that shit's going to matter at the end of the day, And
I mean, if you listen to any rap music that is coming out right now, it is very apparent money will not make you happy.
Oh God, that's so fucking true.
All of them are depressed. All of them just like they make a shitload of money and they go, well, this didn't work. Guess I'll keep rapping about it, know. And that's why emo rap is the big genre right now.
It's the fucking wave right now, yeah.
But like, I guess I'll. Fuck, what was I gonna fucking say? I was gonna part with something. Oh yeah, so in this podcast, I know that I'm going to get blasted in the comments for a lot of unsubstantiated claims and like random fantastical political ideas. And here's what I want to say about that. And I said this in that other video. I'm not interested in facts. I'm interested in ideas. I'm interested in the truth more than facts, because the truth is an abstract concept more so than like individual facts along the way are like just like proofs for the truth that you already understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I really think that I need to get back into writing stories, because what stories are for is for you to present truth without needing facts.
You remember how like what little phrase did I flip when I first got here that you liked? I forget what I said.
Fuck, I don't remember.
I'm gonna flip another one for you. Feelings don't care about the facts.
Oh
no,
boy.
They don't, and feelings are the weather vane of truth in many ways. Like, if I just think that like there's a lot of stuff that we can innately understand and can't prove. Like, there's
I was gonna gay the prey out of you. Was that?
Yeah, gay the prey away. That brings me to my example, and this is like, don't take this seriously at all as a statement I'm making, but I was listening to this artist named Baths the other day, and he's a gay man, and he writes songs that, in spite of being like kind of dark, downer, emotional songs, have like thriving dance beats kind of behind them. And it just fascinated me to think that like if you listen to a lot of like music by gay dudes, like a lot of it's like that. Like there just tends to be this undercurrent of that, and that's also true of music that women like. And like there's sort of a stereotype of like chick music all being like high-pitched guys and like low repetitive bass lines and like high-pitched singing, like something like Passion Pit is like what the fuck is that other band that sounds like Passion Pit. I can't remember the names of any of these goddamn bands because I don't listen to them. Like, there's a strange divide, I feel, where there's, like, a certain category of bands that, like, most of the women I've known who, even if they have similar taste to me in other things, like this kind of music that I don't know any guys who like. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
And it's, like, to me, it's, like, there's obviously something there, but there is no way to say, like, if I were to, in a video...
Yeah.
If I were to say in a video, like, oh, of course this character likes this music because he's gay, people would be like, uh-oh, you trying to say all gay people like club... No, I'm not trying to say that. But if I were to create a character who was gay and liked this type of music, no one would question it.
Right.
And I think this is why stories have to exist, is because they're holding a mirror up to reality in a way that we all understand, but, like, without the science, without the proofs, without that, because I think people get too mired in that. Like, and I think that there are so many people who just think of stories and reality as, like, two completely different worlds, and I really don't. I think that's, like, every story inherently is a story about reality.
Yeah,
because it's always a story about the author and their perspective and what they think the world is.
Right.
And you can't write anything you don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree 100%.
You know? So, like, if you read a story, no matter how warped or different it might seem from reality, you can always analyze it back to, well, okay, like, this might seem like just a wild drug trip, but obviously it's because this author, you know, thinks the world is a crazy, scary place full of fucking weird shit. Like,
right.
You know, and there's substantiation to that. And, like, I find myself with most of the art that I enjoy, that I watch, the phrase that goes through my head all the time is, this is just life. Like, I think that all the time. I think, oh, this is just life. You know,
life,
oh, this is just actually real. You know, like, I know they're aliens, but they're just a metaphor, you know, for something that is real. So, you know, I think I've run up against lots of walls by people think I present my stuff as fact. I don't think I present my stuff as fact, but if that line is too blurry for people, maybe I just need to move the line a little closer to fiction so people will get it more, you know?
Fucking maybe, dude. I don't know. I did make that video on, like, presenting, you know, opinions as fact.
Yeah.
And, yeah, well, I do, at some point, I don't know, I originally said that the onus falls on the viewer, but can't trust them. They're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
It's like so you gotta spell it out for them, I think.
We can say the onus falls on the viewer, but then we have to be like, okay, well, that means that only 20 viewers are ever going to get this.
Right,
so
exactly.
If I want to speak to people, I just have to take responsibility and go 90 instead of going 50, you know?
Exactly.
Like, that's the biggest move I'm trying to make in my career is, like, I've always been like, hey, I'm meeting you all halfway. Can't you meet me the other half? And it's just like, the answer is no. You just got to meet them more than halfway.
Yeah, exactly.
If you want to reach enough people.
Because, like, the people watching it, it's like, why? What have you done for us that would, you know, incentivize us to meet you halfway? So it's like, all right, I get your point.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I'll do all the work. You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, as long as you pay me.
Yeah. That's all there is to it. Ain't nothing to it but to do it.
Alright, well, that's it for this obscenely long and...
Thanks, all of you, for listening to this awesome waifu podcast. I'm
Yes,
glad we all talked about waifus.
Ohio State.